Hello and welcome to Camera Confidence. I am so fired up for today's session. Sean Cannell here, and I am so pumped. I have with me the incontrovertible Heather Torres in the house. Heather, how's it going?
Good. I'm trying to fix my mic. Errors at the last second where my mic doesn't want to be here, but I'm here. So I am fired up and so excited because man, we have so much in store for you. And we're just so grateful that you're here and that you're spending this time with us. And I cannot wait to dive into what you have in store, Sean.
Yes. And so we're going to get started in just a second, but we want to greet people kind of in the pre-show here. We've got Broke Millionaire. Good to see you here. Tiffany, Stanley, Sophia. I see you. We are recording this live, and then, of course, we're going to put it in a members area, but Rich Toy Media, good to see you. Travis, Joseph, Living a Rogue Life, Martin. People still showing up. Molly, where are you watching from? Shout me out. What state, what city? And how are things going? Let me know where you're watching from. And thanks so much for showing up here live. You may be catching this on the replay, although we're going to cut this front part off anyways. And so you wouldn't even hear me say that. But this, of course, is going to be in your members area. For some context, this is a brand new course that we are recording all about confidence. And what's interesting is this is one of the most important, foundational, integral things for really succeeding when it comes to content, social media, and YouTube. And so I'm so excited for today's session, and we're going to get into it just a second to give you all the details. But man, we got Utah. Hey, we're headed your way pretty soon. We're going to take some time in Utah. My wife, Sonia, and I. We got Billy in the house from Illinois. We got LA in California. Vegas, Joseph, good to see you. Montreal, Indiana. And a couple things practically, Heather can maybe hit them as far as some of the notes. We've been having some issues with the commenting features in regards to the page where we usually embed this, but this is a private stream. So you just got a link to this private stream. We're gonna have a powerful time of Q&A after the core content today. So get ready and stick around. But Heather, any admin stuff, and what can we do to get the most out of this session right now?
Yeah. So if you're watching right now and you're like, what comments? I'm not seeing the comments. You may need to click through the video to the actual YouTube link. You can do that by on the very bottom. If you're watching this on the page, you can click the YouTube link. It'll take you over to YouTube and you'll be able to see the live comments. Now, if you're over on YouTube and you're like, what button is Melissa talking about? That's actually over on the page. So thank you so much for the grace and for the patience as we're working through some of these technical issues that are happening. But that is where you can find those things. So we have a download for you. And that is on the button on the viewing page. You got an email. That's how you got here. And so that is where you'll find that piece. If you are not seeing the commenting coming up, you can also just click through to the YouTube link. And we sent you the YouTube link as well. So you have both links to be able to access today, but both of them are streaming the same exact thing. So just so you know, you're here with us. If you hear my voice, you are live for the confidence course, and everything will be in a follow-up email, as well as you'll have access to this inside of your course library. Now, how do you get the most out of today's session? This is critical. I think it's really important that right now you invest in your own time, meaning cut out the distractions, shut off social media, put your text messages on hold, put your phone in the other room, close all the other tabs that are open right now, and get your journal out, because this here is what is foundational to success. And I know that you're part of Video Ranking Academy, and I know that you're part of our Think Media community because you have a voice that matters and your message matters. And there's no better way to get to the end goal than to spend the time right now to invest in yourself. And so I just encourage you to cut the distractions out. Give us your time. Give us your ear. There's some things we're going to talk about today where you're going to be like, I already know that. Well, I just want to encourage you. Do you know it? I want to encourage you to lean in to the conversation, because it's important that we go through each of these steps, because that's what's going to help you succeed on YouTube. And we have no better coach than Sean Cannell himself. And I am ready with my own notebook. I got my own little notebook ready to go because every time he speaks, every time he shares information like this, I learned something. And I think it's really important that we know that even if we've heard it once, we may not be implementing it. So Sean, I'm excited for you to take it away with today's confidence course video number 1. I had to think about what it's called. Video number 1, Sean.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to Camera Confidence session number 1. My name is Sean Cannell, and I'm the founder of Think Media, and I'm so excited for this session. And right at the top, I want to acknowledge you for taking the time to watch a session like this. Clearly you're here to say, I know I want to build my confidence and I see the power of confidence, but maybe you're like me and you even think back years ago where I might have even kind of snickered at somebody that was working on their confidence. Like, oh, why you got to work on your confidence? Like, why don't you just be confident? Like, oh, that's woo woo. That, oh, what's the big deal with that? Why don't you give me something tactical? Why don't you give me something really strategic? And my friends, what I've learned is I've been that person, but I've learned that confidence is one of the most important aspects of life, of business, of creating content. And watching this today, you might be anywhere on the spectrum. You might be terrified to get on camera, or you might already be creating content, getting on camera. But I want to encourage you, either way, there's another level. There's another level of presence. There's another level of boldness in sharing your message and your voice. There's another level of being who you are and who God created you to be and getting on camera and showing up for your audience, or showing up for your audience that's not even there yet and just being consistent. You're like, I don't even got anybody watching the videos yet. Good. Come on. It's all about showing up and being consistent. And even in our obscure seasons, sometimes it's our season in obscurity that prepares us for popularity, and we have to stay confident during that time. So I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for being here, and thank you for investing in your learning. And this is going to be an incredible course with multiple sessions that we are going to learn from as it pertains to building our confidence. You're in the right place, and we're talking today about camera confidence. In this first session, we're going to talk about how to create unstoppable momentum in your life and business by intentionally building your confidence. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the two biggest confidence killers, how to build momentum in your life and business with the confidence loop. We're going to talk about the confidence equation, and we're going to talk about 5 tips for building your camera confidence. But in each session, and in this first one, this is kind of foundations. This is setting up the groundwork for what we're going to be doing in this program. In each session, though, we're going to have a quick tip. And that's going to be something that's just actionable, practical, so that next time you press record and get on camera, you can do so at a higher level. And so I'm going to pass the mic to Heather Torres, Chief Operation Officer of Think Media. And Heather, what is our quick tip of today?
Yes, I am fired up for the quick tip of the day. And the quick tip of today for confidence is having what I call your power posture. Write that down, your power posture. And here's what that looks like. Researchers, for instance, they found that when you assume a power pose in your power posture, in your confidence and your stance, by uplifting your posture, your decision-making goes up, your self-confidence goes up. Having power posture is so important. And so here's what this looks like. Remember when you're in elementary school, or when you were in preschool, or if you have little ones yourself, I'm sure you've done this song: head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Type that out for me in the comments. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And here's what this looks like. When you're assuming your power posture in your power pose, you want to think about, where's your head? Are you looking down or are you looking up? Is your chin down or is your chin up? Having a power posture is always best when you have your eyes at either eye level or looking up. That helps you get your power posture. So your head. Next is your shoulders. Now, we always recommend rolling those shoulders back, right? Do this with me right now. You might be like, Heather, this is weird. I know it's weird. We're doing it together. We're weird together. You're going to roll those shoulders back. And you want to make sure when you're in your power posture stance that you have your shoulders rolled back, but that you lock them in and you have your chest open and out. This is going to help you just all together, just power up by putting your shoulders back and having your chest out. All right. So head up, shoulders back. Now is your knees. Now, 2 different things. If you like to teach sitting down like I'm doing right now, I don't have my legs crossed. Okay, you're not even seeing my legs. But right now, I have my knees pointing out. I don't have them pointed to the side. I'm pointing directly out. I'm in a power stance. I have my knees pointed out. And if you like to stand up and teach, you want to make sure you shake your legs out and you're not locking your knees. You want to have soft knees in your power stance. All right, so now head, shoulders, knees, and now your toes. You want your feet to be planted on the ground, firmly planted on the ground. Right now, I'm sitting in a chair where my feet can touch the ground. That's important because it allows for you to have full posture, sitting up straight posture, or it just allows you to have, rather than your feet kind of dangling around, it gives you something firm to stand on. If you're actually standing when you're doing your teaching or when you're on camera, you want to make sure that you're balancing your weight on both feet when you're making power statements. Write that down. When you're making a power statement, you don't want to be leaning to one side. You want to make sure both feet are planted firmly on the ground for that power statement, because at that moment, your head's out, your chest is out, your stomach's in, your knees are soft, but your feet are firmly planted on the ground. And this sounds crazy, but we do this every single time we're creating a video. Right now, before this video, this is what I did. I said, how's my head? How are my shoulders? Are my knees straight? Am I crossed? Are my feet planted? I really think about these things and I go through that checklist. And then last, I take deep breaths because it's nerve-wracking when you're going to start video, right? Like when you get on video, you start to think, who's looking at me? What does this look like? We're going to walk through all of that. But just taking a breath and letting it out. Taking a breath and letting it out. And when you start to do this over and over and over, you'll start to find that these power posture pieces will start to allow you to have more self-confidence on camera. And that is my tip of the day. We're going to do our head, our shoulders, our knees, and our toes. And we're going to have power posture when we're on camera.
I love it. So valuable, Heather. And throughout this program, we're going to be talking about a lot of power tips and tactics like that. You know, as I record this, I have my chair as angled as forward as possible. And usually I have my core engaged and I lean in whenever I'm live streaming, because there's a different energy between teaching the confidence course like this than there is if I come up and I lean in, as Heather said, feet planted, engaged, and thinking about connecting with you on camera. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of tactics like that. And over the next few sessions that you'll be able to watch on replay in your members area, or if you're here for this live recording that we will be doing once a month, we're going to be layering on these practical tips. But today at the foundation, we got to actually kind of get into some serious inner work as it pertains to confidence, and maybe unpack some things that will help us lay a solid foundation. Because I've learned this, that tactics without strategy, like tactics without a strong foundation, don't really account for much. Like a little tactic about thumbnails are not going to help you if the whole strategy of your YouTube channel is not solid. Furthermore, a few tactics in confidence are not going to actually really help us if we don't lay a solid foundation of confidence. And it makes me think back to my early childhood. And let me know if you've ever felt this way or you can relate to this. But, you know, growing up, I really struggled with confidence. And I think that had a lot to do with being born an only child, not having brothers around me to look up to, and a really pretty terrible divorce that my parents went through when I was 3 years old. Now, luckily, I was young and I have a very faint memories of those seasons, but my dad struggled with a lot of heavy drug addiction and cocaine addiction, and even some abuse. And there's flashbacks of times where there's lots of verbal abuse or physical abuse. And my mom and she was a single mom for years before meeting my stepdad. And so I found myself, I was an only child, broken and wounded from just trying to process what was going on in my family, and finding myself dealing with a lot of those emotions and dealing with a lot of isolation and loneliness and identity issues. Of course, we talk about, and I'm not trying to go this deep. You're already like, dear God, this is camera. Can we hold the brakes? But I mean, it's just real, right? Can we get real? Like, let me know if you're here live, or type in the comments in the members area, real talk, all in. And just going through these types of emotions and isolation and not having a ton of confidence. We talk about father wounds, and that's something that we're not going to go deep into that. I mean, that's, by the way, we're not certified counselors, you know, we're not certified psychologists, but both Heather Torres and I have worked heavily, intentionally on growing our confidence to become the people we are today so we could show up and deliver and lead in the way that we're called to do when it comes to content and getting on camera. And so being in a situation where I'm a young kid, I don't really have a confident present father to lean on. I don't have siblings to lean on. And as I started to go through school, I remember struggling to develop friendships. I remember struggling to raise my voice and be who I was. I remember acting out in a lot of toxic ways, or just because of the wounds I had been through. And so I had to learn to cope, and I had to learn throughout the years to grow confidence. And what's interesting is a lot of times we don't think, like, I know for me, I never went to a class that was called the confidence class. You know what I mean? Like, we have this camera confidence course, like in high school and elementary school. I never actually went to a class. Now, I'm thankful for teachers who were intentional about trying to build their students' confidence. And certainly there were some amazing teachers in my life. And if I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the teachers and the pastors and the mentors and those people that came along in my life to help me along the way. But I'm pointing to all this to just say that most of us, and let me know if you can relate to this, or if you if you think about a time when you've maybe felt like, I don't have what it takes, or you were afraid to be you, or you were dealing with, could be abandonment, or it could be seeking approval because you didn't get approval somewhere. All of this stuff, you better believe it's going to impact how you create content. And dealing with these things and processing these things is going to influence, again, how you create content. Well, fast forward, eventually I started making videos for my church, and eventually I started to kind of be more of my goofy self, my fun self on camera, especially in my small town, my small church, making video announcements that played for the 32 students that came to church every Wednesday night on youth group. But fast forward to 2010, when it came time for me to put myself on YouTube, for me to press record and actually shoot a video. And once again, I came face to face with a confidence block or a confidence deficit in my life. And even though I had been making, by the way, by this time, I'd been making videos. By 2010, I'd been making videos for 7 years. And I'd been making videos for clients. I'd been making videos for my church, my youth group. But when it came to putting myself out there in the world and having to stand on my own 2 feet and stand for my voice and my beliefs and be who I was, it was, are people going to accept me? Are people going to, what are they going to think? Are my jokes going to be understood? Is my cynical, kind of sarcastic personality, is that going to come? It was pages of self-doubt. And let me know if you can relate to that. Let me know if you can, relate to the emotions of how are people going to judge this? Or how can I be who I want to be? Or do I even have anything to say? Does my voice even matter? And all these different things. And you may have seen this before, but eventually I shot my first video. And here's just a few clips of the first video that I uploaded on my personal channel on YouTube.
All right, so this is, I guess, the first Sean Thinks vlog. And I'm going to try to vlog every single day, mainly so I can remember what I'm even doing and what's going on, because I just feel like I have a lot that I'm thinking about, and I figured, hey, why not share it? And if you find something interesting, that's awesome. Now, this is definitely as real as it gets, so I'm not going to try to be energetic or entertaining, though maybe sometimes I will. But anyways,
that video gets me every time, man. I just remember that Sean. That's a different Sean than the Sean today. And what's crazy, though, about watching that video is, as I mentioned, I'd been shooting videos for 7 years before that. And I'd actually been more of myself, more outgoing. But when it came to putting myself on camera, when I look at that video, I kind of now can remember the state I was in. I was like, I'm not going to be energetic or entertaining because I'm going to play it safe. During this live recording, I see a comment that's very powerful from Lit with Ray that says, I think it prevents me from being polarizing by not having confidence. And that's assuredly where I was. So I know what I've been struggling with even over the last few years is actually saying what I really believe, or actually standing for something, and not just trying to play it safe and play it in the middle and try to play politically correct, or just try to play, just at a place where, oh, if I don't want to upset anyone, let me just be comfortable. And that's not confidence, right? That's not truly stepping into our personal power and being who God has made us to be and sharing our voice. And I'll be honest, I didn't have a Sean Cannell in my life. So I really believe that this is going to be one of the most powerful series of sessions. If you lean in, take notes, if you intentionally build your confidence, because I think about that. Even at that time, I wasn't intentionally building my confidence. It's been a long 10 years since shooting that first video. And over the years, I started to get smarter. And over the years, I started to get connected to the right courses. And over the years, I started to get connected to the right community. And over the years, I started to realize, man, I need to be intentional about growing my confidence. And it hasn't been easy. And I've been afraid to talk about certain topics. I've not shot certain videos because I didn't want the backlash. I have not said certain things. I have overly edited when my wife Sonia and I vlogged for a while. And I'm not trying to say don't have caution. And I'm not trying to say don't edit your videos. But I overly edited my videos out of utter fear of what are people going to think? How are people going to judge me? I've been in the place of seeking approval, living for approval, living off of looking for external validation and being on the roller coaster of emotions, because that will never give you confidence, because people's opinions are up and people's opinions are down. And so this topic is critically important. And what I've been learning is that we don't really teach this, right? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever took a class on confidence in school? And maybe you have. I remember I took DECA. That was like leadership and marketing. I mean, and so they kind of tried to work. I took, there's public speaking. There's maybe a few things like that. But I think about how important confidence is, and I realize, man, it's everything. With my son on the way, Sean Bradley Cannell, I realize how intentional I am going to be about building my son's confidence. And I just think, man, we don't talk about this enough. And we're not really intentional enough about talking about this. And here's what I've learned, that your most important account, come on, is not your bank account. It's not your Bitcoin account. Come on, crypto investors. It's not your Target or your Nordstrom or your Dick's Sporting Goods rewards points balance, right? Your most important account is your confidence account. Well, Sean, come on, this is so woo-woo, bro. I mean, like, come on, like, actually, I can't pay my bills with confidence. And I would argue, I think you can. Because when you don't have confidence, you will always find a way to lose. When you don't have confidence, you'll go to a job interview, get rejected, and you won't show up to the next one because you won't get back up after getting knocked down. When you don't have confidence, you might get one rejection when it comes to sales or marketing. And by the way, for so many in our community, you're building a YouTube channel. You're selling your YouTube channel. You're selling subscribe. You're eventually maybe selling, hey, affiliate marketing. You're maybe eventually leaning in and saying this product will change your life. This is going to help you. I believe in this. I'm going to stand by what I say, even if I get some pushback and some criticism. Eventually, you're going to create something. For you authors, you're going to write a book. For you people, you're going to create a course. Like, we're going to create stuff. If you don't have confidence, your offers are guaranteed to fail. So if you have confidence and you have a healthy confidence account, I know that your bank account will align eventually, even if not immediately, with your confidence account. The converse is true. That even if you actually were to inherit some money, but not have the right confident framework to steward that well, that your bank account could empty quite quickly. And so we're talking about confidence. And, what is confidence? Let's get on the same page. It's the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. It's firm trust. When we think about confidence, what that says to me, it's the feeling or belief that you can rely on yourself. I believe that's where confidence starts. See, you go, well, you go, I know I don't have confidence in that other person. You go, yo, is he gonna, you think he's gonna show up? Is he gonna be on time? You're like, dude, he never shows up. Well, that person, you don't have confidence in that person. But more than confidence in others, I think having confidence on yourself is getting to a place where we're gonna say, I'm not even overly judgmental of the results that I myself am getting. But what I am confident that I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep growing, that I'm going to follow through, that I'm going to be a person of growth, and I'm going to be a person. I know who I am. I know who I am internally. Confidence is the state, these are the definitions, the state or feeling certain about the truth of something. I can't be sure that I'm going to get to 100,000 subscribers in 1 week or 1 year, but I'm confident and certain that I'm not going to quit. I'm confident and I'm certain that I'm going to learn. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I'm going to keep learning. I'm confident and I'm certain that I can figure out the skills necessary to accomplish this goal. Sean, we're talking about camera confidence. Stick with me. This all is the foundation. This is my favorite one. A feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation in one's own abilities or qualities. I believe that confidence is the most attractive quality anybody can have. Come on, it's not whether you're curvy or skinny. It's not whether you're with the color of your skin. It has nothing to do with your background. It has nothing to do with any of those other things. Can we all agree that a confident person is an attractive person? Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter where you came from. That when someone is confident in their own skin, it's just simply appreciation and self-assurance in my own qualities. Man, this is how God created me to be, in my own abilities. Listen, I might be confident that I suck on video right now, but I can still be a confident person that I can get better on video. Guess what? There was a time, right? When Heather, when myself, we weren't good on video, but we had to develop enough confidence momentum to believe that we could figure it out and that we could lean in and have appreciation of our own abilities and qualities more than anything else to figure things out. So this brings us to our confidence assessment. We're just laying the foundation here. And this is a download that I have for you. Now, here's what's so powerful is this program is about intentional growth. And so you can download this confidence assessment, and I want you to fill it out right now. You could either just take a screenshot, write it down. And this is fun because we're at the beginning of this. Heather's got some powerful trainings coming up for you. We're going to go through lots of practical things, but foundationally, just 4 questions that is the goal of this whole course. The goal of the Camera Confidence course is to help you make measurable growth and progress in building your confidence. Okay. And so I want you to rate yourself from a scale from 1 to 10 in these 4 areas. And over the next 4 sessions, this is really what we're going to kind of be talking about. So the first one is, I know I have a lot to learn, but I believe over time, I will be able to figure anything out and learn the skills necessary to achieve my goals. So confidence being, no, I know there's a lot to learn. Like, I'm not confident that I'm a great video editor. I'm terrified actually to open up the video editing program. But real confidence is that everything is figure outable. Real confidence is, I can learn these necessary skills. And over these next few months, this confidence course is like a supercharger for Video Ranking Academy, for the YouTube Influence Bundle, for these other programs, because I just need you taking massive imperfect action and saying, no, I know I got a lot to learn, but I believe and I'm confident that I'll be able to figure anything out and learn the skills necessary to achieve my goals. In the case of this course, for getting on camera, for editing that video together, for getting that thumbnail done, for posting that video, for being consistent, for coming up with good video ideas, for learning keyword research tools. Oh my, there's so much. That's right. And you could figure it out. So rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 and be honest. You might be right now at a 1, like I'm just getting started and I actually don't believe I can figure it out. Well, yeah, be honest. That's what we're here for. And we're going to work through this together. Next, I am not afraid to express myself, my ideas, and be myself on video. That was mine right there. I think about this, that number 1 was the one that allowed me to get here. I had to initially build the belief that I could just figure it out. Some of you have heard my journey making money with affiliate marketing and my first ever affiliate check. My wife was in the hospital and I wanted to start figuring out how to make money from home and provide a different future for us and pay off medical bills. So I started to create YouTube content, reviewing tech, talking about cameras, gift ideas, videos, all this different stuff. And I got my first check from Amazon Associates program. It was $2.12. my friends, if I was basing my confidence on an external result of how much money I made, I should have thrown in the towel right then. $2.12. That's laughable. Externally, that was mocked. It was being mocked. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you shooting videos? This isn't going to turn into anything. But I had to, number one, believe that over time, I could learn the skills necessary to turn $2 into $20, into $200, into $20,000. But number two, I'm going to mess you up. Sorry. Right here at the beginning, we're getting deep in this camera confidence assessment. I'm not afraid is the statement to express myself, my ideas, and to be myself on video. A 10, I've mastered this. 5, I am doing this, but I got to learn a room to grow. A 1, I'm just getting started, and this is a struggle for me. I'm not afraid to express myself. Over the past 10 years, this has been huge for me. Now, I was confident to just press record and try to talk as plainly as possible at tech. Here and there, I'd weave in my personality, but I had this huge aha moment even a couple years ago. Like, I'm talking 5 years in. Think Media had hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I was not fully expressing myself in a live stream, expressing my ideas in videos. I was kind of just pragmatically doing what I knew to do as far as like Video Ranking Academy and ranking videos, but I was playing it safe. Where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10? And engage with me in the comments below on some of these ideas, but you can print this out if you want. And here's the thing that's going to be powerful about this assessment. We're going to move forward. If you're a 1 today, by the end of this course, let's get you to a 4. If you're a 4 today, by the end of this course, let's get you to a 7 in these different categories. What gets measured gets improved, right? And you can grow. I can grow. We can grow. Heather can grow. And we can become stronger in these areas. I'm not a 10 in any of these areas. One of the things I've been learning more as our platform gets bigger is where I lack confidence more than ever before, is where new levels of pressure or even new levels of criticism can come. And I actually see how strong or how weak is my inner confidence. So just like you, I just want to grow. I want to grow from a 6 to an 8. Okay. The third one, I fight nervousness and fear, but I don't let that stop me from creating content and recording videos. Very intentional statement, because I believe you could be a 10 and still experience nervousness and fear. If you're hoping to go through this course thinking that we're going to teach you how to eradicate nervousness and fear from creating content or sharing your voice, then you're not going to get that in this program, because we're not saying the fear will maybe ever go away. Sure, it'll get less and you'll have tools to process it. We're not saying the nerves will ever go away. Sean, how did you get over your nervousness before speaking? I did it. Courage, confidence, like John Wayne said, it's knowing that there's fear ahead, but it's saddling up anyways. Come on, you got to saddle up anyways. You got to saddle that horse. Come on, ride the pony. Genuine. I can't believe I said that. You got to fight nervousness and fear, and you got to just jump on regardless and saddle up. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's charging into battle, acknowledging the fear that you have. So it's acknowledging and saying, it's not, I'm shooting record. I'm pressing record. I feel terrible about it, but I'm still hitting record. If you're not hitting record, that is the measurement, my friends, of success. Hear me, not whether you even got subscribers or not. And I understand we're going to process this, not whether you got views or not whether you got the affiliate money or not. Initially, foundationally, it's that I press record anyways. It's that I'm creating content anyways. Number 4, and we'll be going through this over the next few sessions, but I'm clear on my vision, values, and mission for creating content. What are you on that? It's a struggle. I'm not really sure about my vision. I'm not really convicted on my values. I don't really know what my mission is. Number 10, a 10 is I've mastered this. I got crystal clear vision. I know what my values are. I know what mission I'm after for creating content. My friends, that was like a 4 for me 3 years ago. And we were experiencing some success. So you could have success all around at different levels on the journey, but I want you to fill this out. Don't overthink it. And what's going to be fun is we can either go through it. I don't know if it'll be fun. What's going to be insightful, what's going to help us learn, and what's going to help us grow is that, can you see how powerful this is? Like, if we just stopped here by just being intentional and being aware, you can move the needle forward to say, wow, I hadn't really thought to put a number to it, but we want to move forward. And by the end of this program, we want to grow. And here's what I can't promise you. I'm not promising you perfect confidence in 4 months, right? I don't have perfect confidence to give, but I am promising you progress when you stay committed to this process. All right. Okay. So fill out the confidence assessment. You can also just journal it, just write it down. But here's what I want to do next as we get into the core content here is I want you to now journal a little bit in light of kind of on the other side of that camera confidence assessment. Maybe even close your eyes. I get it. For you people who are anti-woo-woo, right? You're like, dude, I'm not going to close my eyes, bro. Close your eyes. I'm not going to close my eyes because I got to read. Let's close our eyes. Can we take a deep breath? Close your eyes. Sit up in your chair. And I want you to just imagine with me for a second what it would look like for you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else to have unlimited confidence. What does that look like for you if you were the person that you want to be as it pertains to being fully yourself? I want you, eyes closed, come on, breathing deep. Picture a day where you were comfortable in your own skin. Where sure, if somebody insulted you or left a comment, you acknowledged it, it stung a little, but you were so comfortable in your own skin that you were unshakable. Eyes closed, picturing a day where you were confident in your own voice. Confident in your own voice. I don't sound too high, too low, too weird, too much of an accent. I'm confident in my own voice. Picture a day where you were fully secure in who God made you to be. Unafraid and unapologetic of your voice, your body shape, your looks, your background, all the details about you. Picture a day where you were taking bold, confident action consistently. That I want you to picture a day, not a day free from challenges, not a day free from haters. Because my friends, with where you're called to go with YouTube, that is what your future holds. There's critics in your future. There'll be people that are jealous. There'll be people that are mean. There'll be people that are evil. There'll be people that you'll make mistakes and they'll point them out and they'll be right. But picture a day where you take bold, confident action no matter what is happening around you. Okay? Open your eyes. And I saw those of you that didn't close your eyes. I know who you, I could see you through this web. I'm just kidding. But with your eyes open, and I hope you're journaling, and I hope you have a journal for, of course, all the different training, Video Ranking Academy and the YouTube Influence Bundle. I really want you to write down right now what some of those attributes are. What do you look like? What do you feel like? What do you sound like in that unlimited confidence state? You know, the key to getting to any destination is first identifying the destination, right? Like my wife and I are about to go on a trip, and we live in Las Vegas. And so we know we want to go up to Salt Lake City, Utah, and go out on jet skis one day and go hiking in various parks up there. And she's in the second trimester and of being pregnant. So we're still trying to maximize. She's crazy. She's been hiking all kinds of miles. We went on like a 4-mile hike yesterday. She's blowing my mind right now. And so we want to pick out the restaurants, and we're looking ahead. We're planning out our travel itinerary. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And the key to our vacation together is knowing where we're going. Like, it's setting a destination. And I've actually learned this in marriage and dating, that oftentimes if I was busy giving my attention to work all week long, if I was busy giving my attention to video games, if I was busy giving my attention to myself. And then Sonia said, so, hey, babe, what are we doing this weekend? What are we doing on the date night? And I go, I don't know. What do you want to do? That sometimes that landed me a penthouse suite in the doghouse, right? Because I was not intentional or thoughtful or purposeful. I had not picked a destination. And if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there, right? Like, you don't go to the airport, and we're recording this at the time of the kind of the lockdown, but now things are kind of opening up in different places. You don't go to the counter and they go, so where do you want to go? You go, I don't know. You tell me, like, what are the options? I mean, maybe you do that. I don't know anybody that's ever done that. You go to the counter and you say, I want to buy a ticket to fly up to Salt Lake City. I want to fly to Park City to go snowboarding. I want to fly from Seattle to Florida, and you fly across country. By the way, the alternative is just kind of being aimless. How would you know if you got there if you haven't defined where there is? What do I mean? You getting clear on this picture of what you look like, feel like, what you're experiencing as it pertains to confidence is key, because that's where we want to build towards. So, and I want you to embrace, and some of these things, I'm right with you. If you've been one, maybe you're like, dude, let's go, like visualization, picturing our future. Come on, let's do some affirmations. Dude, I'm the guy who was like, I was like, no, I don't need any of that stuff. Like, logical brain fully, and not really tapping into the emotional brain. And there's all different types of people. And that's why I love that Heather Torres is going to be training in this course, because we're going to hit like a lot of different dimensions of growing our confidence. But I've learned the power of healthy visualization. It's what athletes do. I learned about it in snowboarding, that people, before they did a run in snowboarding, would close their eyes and they would picture the trick that they were about to throw off the jump, and they were going to picture the movements that they were going to do. They were picturing the landing. They were picturing ahead, so that then they could go on execute on what they had visualized. That athletes tap into, how am I going to feel walking out on the field? And if you're an athlete, let me know if you've ever been a process of that, or if you've done any visualization work. This isn't some kind of even overly spiritual visualization practice. It's looking ahead, knowing where is it that we want to end up. Now let's intentionally work to get there. I'm wanting you to fill out the assessment, and I want you to get a picture of that, because now we can actually go to the counter and say, one ticket to unlimited confidence, please. Right? Like, one ticket to unstoppable boldness and taking consistent action, despite what other people around me think and whether they give me their approval or not. That is I'm on the way to confidence. All right, let's talk about two confidence killers. Number one. So these are two confidence killers that I wish I knew back. Part of our training, right, is to shorten your learning curve. And thank you for investing and being here, because you can turn decades into days. Heather and I, we've wandered in the desert for years, not knowing some of these things. Here's the first one. Tying your confidence to external measures. Okay. Now, Sean, you might even argue with me on this, because you go, okay, well, wait a minute, but my confidence, like, when I finally get that body that I've been working on, then I'll be confident. Or when I finally, like, my thumbnails just don't look the same as Think Media's. Like, I don't know how the level of their photography and like the way they look, or my website doesn't look like this girl boss that I follow. Like, she just where did she get that way? Like, mine looks terrible. Like, my colors look terrible, everything. Or, you could even tie, and mind you, you're like, just confidence. Why are we talking about like life stuff, But maybe you're like, I went through a divorce, and now when people see me walking alone, and they used to see me walking together, like, I don't know if I could shoot YouTube videos anymore because I'm going through, like, these are external things, right? Our sub count, we tie our confidence to our subscriber count, or to how much knowledge we have, or to our looks. Look, this is a big vulnerability, wouldn't it be, though? And can't we all relate to this? By the way, this is how I tried to build my confidence early on, was just on what was happening externally. What's the problem? because external measures will always change. And who's even keeping score of what external measures even really matter? It's just one person's opinion versus another person's opinion. Are we saying external measures don't matter? That's not what we're saying. We're just saying this is not what you tie your confidence to. But if you're like me, you're pretty guilty of tying your confidence to external measures. I mean, can you relate to doing that? It's like, if everything is in order around me, I will be confident. But if everything is disorder around me, I will not. My friends, this is a huge vulnerability, because the key, why is this course so important? The key to succeeding with Video Ranking Academy, the key to succeeding on YouTube, the key to succeeding with the YouTube Influence Bundle is by taking unstoppable smart action and continuing to post videos despite the results, to continue to post videos despite, it doesn't mean that you don't pivot your strategy. You do measure. That's not what I'm saying. This isn't delusion. It's just saying we're not tying our confidence account. I don't want, some of you invested in the stock market right now, I don't want my confidence account to be like a stock that just goes up and down based on what's happening in the market. And picture a day when your confidence could be just separate from external measures. See the power of what that could be? So write this down. It's the difference also too, to tie your confidence to efforts versus outcomes. This is huge. Tie your confidence not to external measures. You're tying your confidence to internal measures. Efforts versus outcomes. So I could tie my confidence to, I was just having a real conversation with my wife, Sonia. She's gaining weight. She should be. I sure hope she is, because she's pregnant. And she's like, this is such a crazy thing. She said, like, you're gaining at least a pound every week in your second trimester. But like, I'm like, what's happening to my body? I'm like, well, I mean, I'm partly at fault here. I mean, and she's, so there's she's going to get bigger. Am I even allowed to talk about this, Heather? I'm probably not even allowed to talk about this, but what's real talk? She's going to get bigger, but if you're tying your confidence to external measures, which I'm like, babe, you look beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful than the radiance of pregnancy life all over you. You're raising up our son. My gosh, you look amazing. Like, pregnancy is a good look. Come on, like, gain that weight. We need that substance to keep Sean Bradley strong and healthy. There's something about but that's just the external. Like, what you're going to look like on the outside eventually is what you're going to look like on the outside. But can your confidence grow when you say, well, I'm going to wake up, commit to making a decision to just work on my health today? And we're really not here to talk about health. We're here to talk about confidence on camera. But let me know if you're getting value out of this. And you can see how powerful to say, no, I can get up and I can do that Video Ranking Academy module. I can get up and I can study that chapter in that book. I can get up, I can turn the camera on and press record. And my confidence is because I shot the video, I edited the video, and I posted it on YouTube. Not because it got a like or a dislike, not because it got a subscriber or not. Tying your confidence to external measures is a huge vulnerability. Instead, tie them to internal measures. I'm a person of my word. I follow through on what I say I'm going to do. Now, maybe you don't, and that's where we need to get to, is simply saying, I am just going to keep showing up, following through, and staying committed to who I want to be and intend to be internally, but I'm not going to let these external things, they're way too fickle. They're way too up and down, which brings us to number 2, which is don't tying your confidence to others' attention or approval. This is a hard one. And my friends, I'm not here preaching from a pedestal. This has been my whole life, as having, of course, always wanting the approval of a father figure in your life, which I have gotten, by the way. And thank God for my stepdad, and thank God for counseling, and thank God for church, and thank God for all kinds of like a process of really dealing with father wounds and a lot of stuff in my life. But if we're honest, this is, of course, what we tie our confidence to. If I'm getting attention, I'll be confident. If I'm getting approval, I'll be confident. But when you're journaling about your unstoppable confident state where we want to grow to, and you're thinking about your confidence assessment, I want you to really think about this statement. Did you know that you can be a fully confident person if you don't get acknowledgement from a partner in your life. Did you know you could be a fully confident person if you don't get acknowledgement or approval from your subscribers on YouTube? I'm not saying it's easy. And that first one was real hard because that's like in your house. And you might even emotionally be processing the fact that you're like, this is all too real. But I'm here to encourage you today that you can be a fully confident person, whether or what, not based on what others are doing, but because your confidence is coming from within and not without. You may barely believe this is possible, and you may not even believe this is possible. But if you could just stretch your belief for a second to imagine, wow, I could actually have unstoppable confidence, whether the market's up or down, whether my business is up or down, whether my YouTube channel is up or down, whether my partner or my spouse or my family is up or down. And do you see how powerful this is if we tie our confidence to our efforts and our inner acknowledgement versus the attention or the approval of somebody else? Because again, people are all too fickle on both sides. I've had mentors in my life tell me this: if you actually let they said, if you let the haters, like, as he stumbles, not only should you not give weight to what haters and critics and people say negatively in the comments, you also shouldn't give much weight to the praise, because that's also the problem. If you give a ton of weight to the haters, then you also give a ton of weight to the praise. But what happens when the praise goes away? What happens when that flips? The praise will just puff you up, or the praise becomes fickle and your fans one day can turn on you the next. We have some friends. Heather and I and Melissa were talking about this course, and we got into a place where, like, man, this is going to be one of the most powerful courses and some of the most powerful content over the next few sessions we're going to share. And we feel a burden to say, we're talking about preparing you for YouTube, preparing you for fame, preparing you for influence. And we've got friends going through it right now who are absolutely being torn apart in the media. We have people that we know personally and that we know their character, we know who they are, we know the complexity of the situation that they're in, and they're literally being torn to shreds by some of the most major news outlets throughout the entire world. And when I look at and I think about, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be the most independent subscribed YouTuber, PewDiePie. It could be somebody who is a conservative politician, or it could be a liberal politician, or anywhere in between. No matter anybody that grows into influence of any kind, right? It's going to experience massive backlash. And sometimes you're going to have approval, and sometimes you're not going to. And sometimes you're going to get attention, and sometimes you're not going to. So I hope you understand why, like, Sean, let's just talk about the tactics. Why this is like everything. Like, setting the solid foundation for confidence is so critical. It's going to go way beyond. I hope that we can serve and be connected with you for years. And as you work through the training and these products, these programs, are going to help you get massive results. But I want to hopefully add a little bit of value to your life that can help you sustain through the ups and downs of people's approval or lack thereof it, and of people's attention or lack thereof it. Your confidence does not have to be tied to the attention or the approval of others. Listen, a bad performance should not decrease your confidence. Wait a minute, Sean, but I mean, if I bomb, if I crash and burn, my confidence goes down. No, I get it. So does mine. Like, that's what has happened, but it shouldn't. I recently just got ratings from speaking at an event in San Diego, and I got an email and I got a call and I got an email and I got a little video that said, Sean, you went from being one of the highest rated speakers last year in 2019 to one of our lowest rated speakers in 2020. Here are the results. And I read sentence after sentence, paragraph after paragraph, line after line about why my presentation sucked, what it lacked, things about me, things about how I seemed or how I acted. And I'm not here to say that, like, I was just some unstoppable confidence. I was crushed, and it hurt really bad. but I've been doing personal work and inner work. And a bad performance shouldn't decrease your confidence. It should increase your self-awareness. I try to practice what I preach. And I started saying to myself, man, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I mean, literally, I was like, I lost. That was a total loss. Strike out, struck out. I think using the analogy of baseball and athletes is a good thing to think about, because you might strike out, but you have to get up at bat again and take another swing, because sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And so I had to say, am I giving in? Am I giving up? Am I throwing in the towel? And I wasn't. I said, how can I get better? What can I learn from what happened? What can I learn from this negative feedback? It wasn't negative feedback. It was constructive criticism that was really painful. And then I had to say, I know who I am. I know that I can share good content. I know that I'm not what some people perceive me to be. I know that maybe how I was acting, or like how I came across could be perceived that way. Or I know that they might have been having a bad day, and I had to process through this hard feedback that I got. But look, you can't tie your confidence to other people's attention or approval. And a bad performance or a bad video or a negative video or a bunch of dislikes or a lot of negative comments, it shouldn't decrease your confidence. It should increase your self-awareness. It should give you a chance to learn. But internally, you know who you are. You know you're committed to growth. Guess what? We all make mistakes. You can apologize. That's what I did. I said, I'm so sorry. I kind of went in. I just gave that exact talk at a different event and it crushed. But I realized that I kind of just took a shortcut and just didn't really contextualize it for the audience. I didn't really think things through. I went into it not really spacing out. I spent too long on my story, so I didn't really get to the content. So I understand why people didn't. I acknowledge it was a lot of self-awareness. So it made me better. You can either stay small and stay afraid and just say, oh, I don't have what it takes. Or you could say, no, I made a mistake. Guess what? Parents, you make mistakes. Guess what? Friends, you make mistakes, right? And so it's knowing that it's maybe self-awareness. I learned from this, but I'm not going to feel less. I'm going to apologize, which is an inner confidence in just knowing I'm humble. I can figure things out. I say sorry when I'm wrong. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm going to fall on my face a lot. And the person I am is the person who gets up again. The person who says, I'm sorry. The person who commits to doing better the next time. The person who acknowledges, come on, married couples, where when you apologize after making a mistake, maybe in a partnership, you say, I'm going to try to do better next time, but I'm also not promising you perfection because I know I'm going to mess up in the future. But what I am committed to is loving you, of trying and not giving up. And that's why I have confidence, not because of the results, because I will falter again, but you can't tie your confidence to other people's attention or approval. Okay, let's speed up. Instead, we're going to tie our confidence to our effort. What do I mean? I can learn this. I can do this. I will always have a willingness to try. I always have a desire to improve. I'm confident. Why? Because I'm growing. I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. I don't maybe have as many subscribers as I thought, or my bank account isn't what I thought it was going to be, but I am growing. I can learn. I can do this. Now we're going to do some Q&A in just a second. I'm excited to get into some tactical and even some deep questions about this content, but I want to just give you a framework as we close and then 5 quick tips. But this is a whole mindset shift. And I believe this is the foundational mentality for success in something that is as hard as YouTube. And there's the practical, technical side of putting yourself out on social media and creating content. But then there's this whole emotional, psychological side, which, as we remembered, I believe success on YouTube is about the strategy, but it's also about a powerful community, which you're connected to. And it's also about the psychology. And we're dealing with the psychology that, like, okay, I don't know how to solve this problem, but I can learn it. I can do this. I have a willingness to try. I have a desire to improve. And I'm confident because I'm growing. I'm 1% better. I'm just trying to make each video 1% better. People around you still sucks. You're like, well, that's your opinion. You suck, actually, because you don't do anything. You just criticize others. You don't actually say that because you're confident in your ability to be a kind person who only thinks things like that about others, but doesn't say them, you just go, yeah, bro, you can criticize me all day long from the sidelines. At least I'm in the game. At least I'm growing. At least I'm pressing record. At least I'm learning. At least I'm leveling up. At least I'm getting better as a person. At least I'm growing as a human being. At least I'm not going to let somebody who gave up on their dreams talk me out of mine, because I'm just going to keep moving towards my dreams. If you don't quit, you win. To the day I die, till I collapse. Come on. Okay, so let's talk about the confidence competence loop. Foundationally, this is how we grow. All right. This is a well-known founded thing about confidence and psychology. And so this is what it means. We all recognize that our success accelerates when we are confident. And this is also kind of a quandary. You go, okay, when we are confident, we actually have more success. Think about it. If the confident person goes in for a job interview, and then a person that goes in, by the way, think about external. A confidence person who like maybe doesn't have the right clothes or the right looks, but they're confident and self-assured, goes in for a job interview and sits down and says, I know I can do it. I know I will be able to produce results for the company. I know I'll be able to fit the culture. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. And then someone comes in that has all the right external things happening, but doesn't have confidence. That the person with confidence will probably be more successful, or will, right? We recognize that success accelerates when we are confident. The reason is simple. Without confidence, we revert to fear. And when we are fearful, we don't take action. We get tentative, we delay, and we procrastinate. Listen, we get tentative, we delay, and we procrastinate. 3 things you want to kill if you want to have success on YouTube and video is killing being tentative, delaying, and procrastinating. And if a lack of confidence has you, is that the right video? Should I shoot that video? Should I do some more keyword research? What should I work on? You're being tentative. If I delay, maybe once I get my background on my house right, maybe once I get that new shirt, which I ordered and it's been delayed because of like the pandemic, so it's not here yet. Maybe once I actually like lose a few pounds, maybe when I whatever, and we delay, like, okay, and we procrastinate. Oh, I'm not going to actually start yet, or I'm just not sure if I have all the titles and the thumbnails and the tags ready yet. We're waiting for it to all be perfect, right? That's what a lack of confidence gives us. Fear. And when we are fearful, we don't take action. We get tentative, we delay, and we procrastinate. But when we're able to let go of fear, then we take action more quickly and more easily. And so with confidence, we start to take action. And then what happens is when we take action, we develop more confidence, competence, skill. We may still not be great at all at editing, but we're a lot better now. I just talked to a friend who's like, dude, I'm really trying to pick up speed in my business, but I've only been editing for 6 months. And empathetically, I was like, bro, I've been editing video for 10 years. Like, you'll be good at this. Like, there's just something about sticking with it, like continuing to learn it. And like, I remember being so frustrated and annoyed and wanted to pull my hair out and like, I'm never going to get this. And the software doesn't make sense. And this is too confusing, but I didn't quit. So I got more competence, and then I got better at it. So I got more confidence. So then I didn't quit, and I went even faster, and I got more competence. And then I got even, you see how this loop works. So the practical question then becomes though, is like, how do you actually get confident though? Because you're like, I'm at a 0 though. I took the assessment. Sean, you didn't even give me 0 as an option. You gave me 1 as an option. I did a -3 on the first 3 questions. I get it. But the simplest answer, right, to growing in confidence is to actually start getting more competent, like to start taking action. And remember, your competence is also not in external results. Your competence isn't in, do people approve me or not? It's in, dude, I'm getting better at Premiere. Like, I can put files into the thing, Adobe Premiere video editing software, chop them up, export the video, and put it on YouTube. Did anybody watch it? No. But how many videos do you have on YouTube, Mr. Lazy Cousin? Nothing. At least I'm more skilled at the task. Like, it's skill building, skill development. So our fear starts to shrink, our confidence starts to grow. And then this is the crux of the confidence competence loop. As our confidence grows, we get better, we get more competent. And so these 2 critical factors of our success in anything are joined in a kind of a chicken and egg kind of way. Like, which comes first? I don't know. Both. Like, they're just a constant loop. So what does that mean for us? And why are we talking about this in Camera Confidence? It means, my friends, that we need to be taking massive action. that we just got to lean in. If you got a tiny little bit of confidence, do something, shoot the video, and then acknowledge, I got the video done. And then make the video a little bit better. And then you go, man, I actually did that thing, right? And it begins to compound. And my friends, if you're advanced, stretch yourself to have that hard conversation. Stretch yourself to talk about that polarizing topic, right? Maybe you're like, well, getting on camera is not a big deal for me. Stretch yourself to lean into that thing you're hesitating from leaning into. Stretch yourself to maybe growing in a different aspect of business. It was so encouraging recently. My wife, Sonia, pointed out that you now see like Heather Torres, the Thick Media team. She pointed out in a way that only a wife could, that I was the worst delegator, that I was the worst. I had Superman syndrome. I thought only I could do things. And I was afraid of giving away leadership, authority, trust. It wasn't an issue of even being able to afford it or not. I was afraid of trusting somebody else, which long game as an entrepreneur, you got to trust other people. You got to take risks. You got to hand over responsibility. The essence of leadership is being able to entrust things to other. The essence of being an insecure leader is withholding and not giving others platform or whatever. And the essence of good leadership is handing those things over. But guess what? I freaking sucked. I was the king of Superman syndrome, not trusting anybody, not knowing how to delegate, hire, do anything like that at all. And I've had to grow into that. She's like, it's so crazy because it was like ruining our lives. She's like, she just told us on our team meeting. She's like, because you would just work 24/7 and you never trusted, even when other people were around that could help, you didn't trust them. So I had to intentionally study, learn, get mentored, connect to the right communities, grow, and be committed. I bought books on delegation. I listened to audiobooks on delegation. I didn't grow in it in 2 weeks. It took me 10 years. It took me about 7 intentional years of trying to trust and get better, but it's just confidence loop. And now I talk to other people, entrepreneurs, video creators, and people like, dude, how would you ever like build a team? How could you ever like trust somebody? How do you even find that first hire? How do you even, and I almost look back and I'm like, oh man, I've got the confidence for it. But you can't even probably picture me not in leadership mode, but I had to grow here, brick by brick, step by step, confidence, competence loop. Okay. So here's what we're going to do practically to grow in this. Or first of all, so the foundation of confidence is the internal belief that I can figure things out. That is the confidence, competence loop. It's not denial. So wait a minute. You think you don't even know how to operate a camera, Susan. You don't even know how to edit video. You don't know how to speak. You can't teach anything. You don't have anything to say. This is what the critics could say. And you might say, listen, in full confidence, may be true, but I know I can figure things out. Everything is figure outable. I know that I can practice and learn my way into developing these skills and competencies. I'm not going to pretend that someday I'm going to play in the NBA, but I know I could get better at basketball. I'm not going to pretend like, and knowing that video is a critical skill for all humans now, like that every business owner, social media, live streaming, Zoom, interviewing on video, like this is the thing, y'all. We got to be able to just have an inner belief that we can figure these things out. If you don't quit, you win. So here's the next action item. So we're filling out our assessment today. And then next, I want you to create a victory log for the duration of this course and maybe forever. What's a victory log? So in your journal, I want you to start a victory log. If you don't want to do it in your journal, open up your phone, open up a note tab and type Camera Confidence Course victory log or victory log, whatever year. And what you're going to do with the victory log is compound your confidence. And I don't care how advanced you are. Obviously you're here because you want to be a part of the Camera Confidence Course, but we all need this. This is looking back and me saying, wow, I did 3 job interviews and I was just absolutely terrified about it. Like they didn't even go good, but at least I put them on the calendar because I was procrastinating the thing that I did not have confidence in. But I punched fear in the face and I just put that on my calendar. That was some progress. I had some hard conversations. I brought up that thing, the exact person I didn't want to call and the exact thing that I wasn't comfortable to talk about. I scheduled that. I had that conversation this week. I grew in this area, whatever it is. So your victory log, again, sure. Can you put on there, man, I hit 1,000 subscriber milestone? Is it okay to celebrate external victories? Of course. Is it okay to draw confidence? I mean, sure. Am I guilty of doing that? Yes. The problem is, though, again, external stuff is so fleeting. The victory log is I shot the video. The victory log, see, I personally want to be Brad Pitt Fight Club ripped. And I don't know if you don't know what that is. You can look it up later. Some wives look it up. Their husbands are like, why are you looking at Brad Pitt with his shirt off? That's okay, cool. I mean, whatever. And so I want to be Brad Pitt Fight Club ripped. Here's what I've learned, though, is first of all, I know why I'm not. It's because of my dietary choices and the fact that I refuse to lift weights. So my confidence, I got to have inner confidence regardless of that. But here's the thing is that I can't actually tie my confidence to looking like that. But what I can tie my confidence to is I actually just picked up the kettlebell once again. You know what I was about to do? I was about to buy a course on kettlebells. And my wife said, why don't you just go lift the kettlebell? And I said, okay, touche. And then I was like, I'll buy the course after I start doing the thing because there's this guy I follow on Instagram. Forget it. And so what's a victory log? Okay, here's what I want you to write down. I shot the video. I pressed record. I went on the walk. I read the book. I filled out the assessment. Like compounding the fact that you're an action taker. Come on, hashtag action takers, hashtag all in. That you're taking forward action, that you're uploading the video. And I remember there came a point for me on YouTube where I was like, it was ship it, not with the SHIP is what I'm saying. You got to just ship it. Like no matter what, come hell or high water, we talk about this. The video just goes out. Good, bad, or ugly. The video goes out. We got to just put it in the mail. I learned it from Xbox. There's something about speed because what Xbox did back when they were competing with PlayStation, when they first launched these programs, Sony PlayStation got their product to market sooner than Xbox did. So entrepreneurially, Microsoft, Xbox decided to ship the product before it was ready. This had a lot of problems, and early Xbox users might remember there was like the red ring of death or whatever, and there was a lot of errors with the Xbox. Some worked, but like 25% or more had issues. But what they knew is they said, we have to get this to market because done is better than perfect. And that's maybe kind of a, like, well, do I wait until... It's just that you can never overly perfect your product, and speed matters right now when it comes to YouTube, friends. You can't be dwelling on the sidelines thinking, should I talk about that trending topic or my niche? Will I? You got to be able to take massive action. Well, Sean, I might have mistakes. Yeah. I learned about this about entrepreneurship. You start working with other people. What, is everybody going to be perfect? You're going to have no problems? Are you kidding me? Entrepreneurship is one problem after another. Starting a YouTube channel is just a consistent list of problems to solve. So where does our confidence come from? Our innate ability to continue to figure things out, that everything is figure outable, not what's going on around us, even though that does affect us and we draw a lot of energy from that. So I want you compounding your victory log practically throughout this process. All right, as we land the plane, confidence equation, confidence loop, we're stacking it. C equals I plus A plus C. I want you to apply that this week and I'm done. That's the end. I'm just kidding. You're like, that doesn't make. Okay, so C equals I plus A plus C. This is the camera confidence equation. I hope this whole session ties together in terms of you're seeing how this all compounds to just lay one solid foundation. So C is confidence. So we're going to intentionally be building our confidence. We're going to be working on that assessment, getting our 4 to a 6, getting our 8 to a 9, right? We're going to be working on our assessment. We're going to be compounding our victories, measuring not the external outcomes, although those are great too, but way more our internal effort. You taking action, right? You learning, you growing. Okay. So I is intention, A is action, and C is consistency. The way confidence grows, the way we establish confidence. I, intention. Being intentional versus being unintentional. My friends, if this was all we talked about, you're already way better off. Can you already see that? Can you see how valuable the session was in terms of most people just let life happen to them, right? They're not intentional about growing their confidence versus being intentional is when you take responsibility. You go, I recognize I got a long way to go, but I'm choosing to get up and go and grow. So number one's being intentional, saying, I'm going to intentionally work on my confidence. I'm going to be an intentional person. I'm going to take responsibility. The second is action. So taking an intentional action. I'm going to hit record, even though I'm poop my pants scared. I'm going to record the video. I just did. It was so funny, especially after Heather recently was talking about, she's going to be sharing some amazing content in this session, in this course. But she talks about, just start messy, get on camera. And I did this live stream recently, and all of a sudden I noticed in my pits, thank God it's not happening right now, I had these pit stains like crazy. I was bringing people on for a live stream, Coffee with Cannel, and I was like, dude, there's like waterfalls in my armpits. Like, what is, and I'm public, multi-streaming with StreamYard on multiple platforms, taking super messy, super moist action. Awkward. Intentional action, right? Taking intentional action. And then consistency. This is doing what you say you're going to do, right? I'm a person who doesn't quit. I'm not necessarily the person who gets it right. I'm just a person who doesn't quit. I'm a person that figures things out. And consistency is also congruence, internal alignment with your values. Congruence. So by the way, there's congruence on there as well. Consistency and congruence. So again, congruence is simply saying, and here's the big one, because here's what I cannot let you off the hook on. This program is not woo-woo, like just feel good about yourself if you don't do anything. That's not what this is. You're here to be coached into camera confidence. You've got to step into a new level of action, a new level of discipline, a new level of punching fear in the face and pressing record. So what is congruence and consistency? It's saying, I'm going to post a video a week on YouTube, no matter freaking what. Period. I'm going to be intentional about getting 1% better every week. The action I'm taking is I'm going to do my VRA modules. I'm going to shoot the video. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to post it online, no matter what. And the congruence is by actually making a decision, committing to something, and then actually following through. And you can imagine this is where confidence would come from. And you can imagine this is where a lack of confidence comes from. A lack of confidence comes from being unintentional and just taking whatever comes. Because again, if it's a gust of wind of positivity and things going good externally, well, I feel great. If it's moody people all around me and moody people inside my own house and ups and downs and whatnot, I feel terrible. Because I'm being unintentional. I didn't get up today with any intention to fight back, to be confident. I didn't take any action today. I just hoped I would stumble on confidence somewhere. I was making some coffee and oh, thank God. And actually you're like, no, that is where I draw my confidence from, Sean. Like, there's no confidence without the coffee. Come on, hashtag. Too funny. And so intentional, but then taking action, and then consistency is then just following through. I'm not Brad Pitt, Fight Club ripped yet, may never be. Not my number one ambition. Secretly it is. But I'm working on other things. I know I'm a confident person knowing I'm not putting my time, or I'm not willing to put in the effort. And maybe that's the reality moment. Congruence is being honest. Congruence is saying, look, I'm going to accept all my curves, all my edges. I'm going to accept how God made me to be, but it's going to be my choice to make a decision to be more healthy in my decisions so that I have better energy, so I can show up and be powerful on camera. And I accept how I look. I accept how I sound, but I'm going to be consistent in doing smart things, because look, you shouldn't have confidence and I shouldn't have confidence either if I just eat 14 things of Ben and Jerry's, don't sleep, roll out of bed in a completely disheveled, haven't showered in weeks. Like, I'm not going to have confidence in that state because I'm not getting up and being intentional about the practical steps of building confidence. I'm not taking inspired, intentional action. And then I'm not being congruent with that person that I know and consistent with that person that I know I am called to be. Of course, we have personal responsibility when it comes to our confidence. But I want to call you back now to that picture of the unstoppable, confident you. What is that person doing? Write this down. What are the actions that you're doing in your ideal state? Like, you want to build a YouTube business, work from home, support your family, build generational wealth, be known, raise your voice for messages that matter, stand against injustice, build a high impact, high profit business, build a powerful YouTube channel. You want to change the world. You want to accomplish all these different things. You want to get 100,000 subscribers. You want to get 1 million subscribers. You want to get 10 million subscribers. You want to build an email list. You want to sell a book that changes lives. You want to record an audio program, an audiobook. You want to do all these things. What's your day-to-day life look like? Who are you? How are you acting? When you get out of bed, what are you doing? When you get in front of the camera, what do you feel? What's it look like for you? You need to be you times 2. Remember, the world does not need another Heather Torres or another Sean Cannell. The world needs you to be you times 2. The world doesn't need this or that YouTuber, this or that entrepreneur, or this or that blogger or podcaster or mom or dad. They need you to be how God created you to be. But what does that look like? And if you capture anything in this confidence course, Sean, what is this? I want to know like the best lighting to like in like the contour. Can you teach me some contour strategies so I can contour if I raise the face, is it the skinnier angle? If I go higher and I point it down, we're going to talk about some practical things. Let me know if you've been getting some value and if you could see how powerful this is in getting clear about a big vision and getting a picture of what having unstoppable camera confidence really looks like. What is you being intentional, building a high impact business around YouTube, taking action? What actions are you taking? And what does it look like for you to be congruent? I want to be a person who, it's funny because years ago, Heather will tell you too, and I'm excited. We'll get into some Q&A. And if you're watching this in the members area, I encourage you to stick through Q&A because we're going to get into some stuff. But I, years ago, felt a new level of pressure to go to just another level in terms of trying to build a business, to where as the business grew, listen to this, the business got bigger than me. It did. Even when it was, because I wasn't very big. Does that make sense? Like early on, I've seen YouTube crush people. Like here we are, camera conference. This is what we were talking about though. We were like, this is how important this course is. I've seen YouTube destroy lives. And I don't think that means that we shrink back from YouTube. I don't think it means that we shrink back from the prominence of having a platform. I think it's that we recognize how important it is that we be building inner work, because people who build their house on the sand of external affirmations and approval of others can quickly have that house knocked down when the storm comes. And so years ago, I realized, man, I need to get bigger because the business is getting bigger. I've got to grow as a leader, as a man, as a husband. I got to grow in my health. I was about 45 pounds heavier coming out of a mainly sedentary lifestyle in my 20s, eating very poorly, developing a lot of bad habits and whatnot. And I'm not here to talk about it. This is a looks thing. I'm here to talk about this as I wasn't healthy thing, that I didn't have the energy necessary to fight the daily battles that were ahead of me in terms of the business I was building. Are you called to build the same business? I don't know, whatever your future and your vision is, but what is your vision? What is it that you want to build? And do you need to get bigger? I think we all do. Do you need to get stronger? Yeah, we all do. How fast do you need to get there? Doesn't matter. We're all running our own race, but I want to live up to my God-given potential. And I want to run the race that he's called me to live. And so I want to be intentional, taking actions. So I had to have a whole new set of what congruence looked like. Man, how was I treating my body? How was I treating my time? How was I treating my mind? I went through a whole season of investing less in personal development, or I invested in it, but I didn't actually do the work. It's one thing to buy a book. Guess that's what I've learned. It's one thing to buy a book. You actually have to read it though. Did you learn that? I know. You're welcome. That one was a free tip. Like, it's one thing to buy a course. And I'm so glad you're in the camera confidence course, because I hope that this course sets you on fire to actually follow through on your congruence and your commitment and your consistency to Video Ranking Academy, to the YouTube Hypergrowth Blueprint. Okay? Like to go through the training and to say, I'm going to be intentional, because I know by going through that and leveling up my knowledge and then taking action on the assignments and then just doing it, external results aside, I'm going to be a person of consistency, of follow through, and I'm going to show up. My friends, you can see why this is the unstoppable confidence equation, because when you're taking intentional action and you're being congruent to the vision and the who you're going to be, not the what anyone else even thinks about it, by just knowing, I know I went to bed at a decent hour, so I got up at a decent time and I got hydrated in the morning and I went for a run and then I worked on myself and then I showed up for my team and I showed up for my wife and I just showed up. I don't know if I showed up for my team well. I showed up though. I don't know if I showed up on Think Media. In fact, there's plenty of videos where you can read the comments. I know and trust me, we've had a lot of success. I know you see that. We've had a lot of momentum and we've been working really hard for a lot of years. But to this day, you'd probably be shocked by some of the messages or some of the public failures that we have still. It's just a momentum of the confidence competence loop that's like, man, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Posting, taking action. Okay. So let's summarize compounding confidence. Here's your 5 things, especially for those who are like, did he even say anything today? Like here's 5 action items practically. Decide to be intentional about growing your confidence. That's a practical decision. That's a huge unlock. Like it was not a decision I made. 10 years ago, I wasn't sitting there being like, shoot, I need to grow my confidence. I didn't even know what I didn't know. It was a blind spot. Thank God you're here, because simply by making an intention beyond this course, man, this is a journey. I'm going all in on growing my confidence. I'm going to talk to people, ask how I can get better. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to build. I'll read about this. I'll listen to stuff. We're going to share resources, not today, because this is brick by brick, step by step, but you do you. Go all in growing your confidence, because your most important account is your confidence account. And the higher your confidence account goes, the more residual success you'll see in every other area of your life, YouTube and content. 2, get honest about where you are today. If you haven't done it yet, take the camera confidence assessment. Honestly, judge where you're at. And you're judging that without judgment. How's that possible? I mean, you need to be able to honestly and soberly, not delusionally evaluate where you are, but you just say, I am worthy. I am powerful. I am strong, because I am willing to face this and I'm committed to growth. It doesn't matter how fast or slow I go. I'm committed to growth and I'm going to turn this 3 into a 6. Number 3, describe your ideal confident identity. For you non-woo-woo people, do all this stuff even more. Come on, bro. You need this more than you even know, because I know I do and I still do. Get a picture. Put it into words. The time you invest in this to journal it down and say, man, this is how I'm acting. This is what I'm like. This is how I'm showing up every day. This is how I'm showing up on camera. This is how I'm showing up for my YouTube community. This is what I'm willing to unapologetically talk about things that might happen. I'm willing to embrace the 50-50 rule of leadership, where, man, I might get a lot of backlash, but I feel called to follow my heroes. I know the greats in history, presidents, movement leaders, religious leaders. Man, they were loved and hated, very polarizing. But they were so confident in their mission and their beliefs and their stance and their values that they acknowledged maybe the backlash, but they did it anyway because they were doing what was right. And so what's your ideal confident identity? That's this, by the way, that's the kind of stuff I'm like talking to myself. Like I'm fearless in sharing the messages that matter most to me. I'm not afraid of the economic impact it may have if I raise my voice, because I would much rather, be congruent to my convictions and my beliefs than ever sell out for money alone. We need money for the mission, but the mission's greater than the money. So my ideal confident identity is that I'm that type of a leader. What's yours? Start your victory log. Throughout this entire process, capture your victories. Man, I've been hitting one a week. So at the end of the month, look, if you want to go celebrate, if you're allowed to go to restaurants during the time of this recording, during the pandemic, if you want to go out and celebrate hitting 100 subscribers or 1,000, by all means, we're all about that. Like, hear me, right? That's powerful. But you want to know what you should be celebrating? You got to go throw a party because you're like, I hit the upload every single Tuesday and I did it 2 months in a row. Come on, pop the champagne. Let's get, like, it's time to get, they're like, dude, no one's even watching your videos, sis. Yeah. Yet. You don't know. They like, just wait till they look back and see those early days. I realize these are my days in obscurity. They're preparing me for popularity, but I'm staying consistent. I'm getting stronger. I'm leveling up. You're capturing, right, your efforts, not as much the outcomes. And you can capture the outcomes too if you want. Write down the actions you are committing to taking to build momentum. So that's the final. It's a big one. What actions are you committed to taking to build momentum? Here's just some recommended actions. I am committed to calendar blocking time to watch my course materials to grow on YouTube. The YouTube Hyper Growth Blueprint. Video Ranking Academy. I am committed to going live, listen, once a week. What? I'm not ready for that yet. Okay, well, why not go for it? You could make it private after. You could turn it off after. If there was one thing that has leveled me up and leveled Heather up, is committing to going live a lot. Like, we record, coming up, we're recording some sessions, some new sessions for Video Ranking Academy, and I'll pretty much record them in real time. Take it back 5 years, and I was terrified to record an online course. Like, okay, what do I say? Is it right? Am I right? And I actually, thank God, I actually had Heather like cheerleading me on. She's like, you can do it. Like, be confident. Like, and she would even, she's like, she'll tell you, I was not the Sean then that I am now. But I did it. And I did 1.0 of Video Ranking Academy. And then it was 2.0. And now it's essentially 3.0, but we just took the number off and it's called Video Ranking Academy as we're releasing this program brick by brick in its most updated form. And over the years now, though, from going live hundreds of times, I've become more confident to just know my material, know my stuff. I've had some bad lives that led to some greater recorded videos because the live was like a practice. Just what actions are you committed to taking? Because it's the confidence competence loop. So what actions do you know you need to be taking? I'm going to research those videos. I'm not going to get stuck in research. I'm going to limit my prep time because I've interchanged preparation for procrastination. Prior planning prevents poor performance, but there's something called analysis paralysis where we sit there and we analyze, for so long. You could forever strategize about what video you're going to shoot next. At some point, you got to just press record. So write down the actions you're committed to taking when building momentum. And with that brings us to our, as we land the plane, the session was a little bit longer than planned. Okay, we're going to do some Q&A here in a second. But I just want to say, imagine, again, as we close, having unlimited confidence. Like, picture a day when you're comfortable in your own skin, confident in your own voice, secure in who God made you to be, unafraid and unapologetic of your body shape, your looks, your background, confident in your knowledge, confident in what your message is, what your YouTube channel is, not worried about the competition or if somebody else is doing it, not worried about what somebody's doing on the left and right, knowing you're running your own race and doing it unapologetically. Confident in your business, confident as a leader. You shouldn't have confidence in skills you haven't developed yet, but you should have confidence that you can figure out the skills needed. I still have massive skill deficiencies. Of course, I don't know how to, every single day, I don't know how to run a company at the size it's at because the company's growing. So what the heck? You want to know how freaked out I am? We got like 12 people on the Think Media team. I don't know when you're watching this sometime in the future. Might be more people. Dude, I don't know if you can even relate. I was afraid, like even thinking if like I'm going to hire somebody someday, like that's scary. Like if I had to be accountable to paying somebody else, if I had to be accountable, or like, what if, if I took a risk and jumped into getting that outsourced person or that virtual assistant, or even hiring vid chops or like whatever, like, dude, I should be cowering in a ball, in a puddle of my own drool in terror right now. Better believe I've had to build my confidence brick by brick. And every day I go, this is a non-negotiable. I have to keep building my confidence and build my skill sets. Because as I look ahead right now, I can think of like 3 or 4 skill deficiencies that I don't know about running a business at this level. So what I'm committed to is I got books over here about it. I've got people that I'm talking to. I've got a list of people that I want to talk to on the phone about the current skill deficiencies. I'm working on the strategies. I'm working on my psychology, and I'm connecting to community to grow my confidence and my skills to take me to the next place. My friends, that's what this program's all about. And I'm so glad you're here. I hope you got value added today. Let me know your biggest aha moment in the comments, either here live or in the comment section in the members area. And I want you to get ready as we take some time for a little bit of Q&A for what's coming up, because we literally were just laying the foundation and scratching the surface, because we're going to be talking about how to get in the right mindset to be on camera. In the next session, Heather is going to be breaking that down. We're going to be talking for tips for being comfortable and confident in front of the camera, like some practical things. We're going to talk about overcoming the fear of other people's opinions in future sessions. We've touched on that on various places online and even during our challenge, but man, that one doesn't go away. I'll tell you what, it's nonstop. And so we're going to really go deep on FOPO, fear of other people's opinions. We're going to talk about more practical ways to build confidence, how to look great on camera. Sure, there is definitely strategies, and just like you want to feel your best, look your best. We'll talk about those tips. We're going to talk about self-awareness and the power of developing a personal philosophy. The 4th question in the assessment was how clear you are in your vision, your mission, your values. If you're not clear, great. We're going to be talking about strengthening those things. If you are strong on those, my friends, I continuously want to strengthen my vision. I'm thinking about, how do I make my vision stronger? How do I make my mission stronger? How do I have greater self-awareness? And how can I develop that powerful personal philosophy? And we'll learn how that connects to confidence. Throughout this course, you're going to be getting some awesome confidence building resources that we'll recommend, because remember, we're being intentional about growing our confidence, and we're going to be going through these. They're meant to be consumed at like a once a month pace. Why? Because this is meant to be consumed while you're taking massive action, while you're going through our program, Video Ranking Academy, and while you're leveling up your YouTube learning, and while you're getting on camera. Sean, but I want to get confidence first and then get on camera. No, you're like, oh, he's mean. That is not how it works. It's the confidence loop. You have to get on camera to get a little bit of awkward competence to then build a little bit like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I wasn't trying to be energetic or entertaining, but at least, it's out there. And then I shot another video. So that's the magic loop for this entire thing, is it's taking massive action while we're going to continue to equip you, strengthen you with more resources to build unstoppable momentum when it comes to confidence. And then a lot more coming up. So super excited. Let me know what your aha moment was in the comments area. And I'm excited to get into any questions that have been coming in. And I'm going to bring Heather back on camera here. I'm excited, Heather. Have we had any aha moments and any questions that you want to jump into?
Yes, I am just taking some notes right here. Sorry, let me pull the microphone 101 again. moment was the math formula. Push the record button. Shannon says, I am loving the confidence course. Aha moments. Everything is figure outable. Yes, these are so important. You should write down your aha moments, because I love going through courses and training materials and books and listening to podcasts and writing those down, because they really help you to solidify, what did I just learn? What was my biggest takeaway that I need from the course? And I'm excited to jump into some of the questions, but let me know in the comment section. You're sharing your aha moments, but let me know, would you recommend this course to someone? And type that out, because what I'm doing is I am taking screenshots of the amazing things you're saying about this course, because when we're putting together our marketing, we want to make sure that we're showing people what people are already experiencing as we keep going. So let me know in the comment section so I can take a screenshot of it. And I'm fired up for some questions that are coming in. How we do questions is you can put 4 question marks in front of your question, so I can see that it is a question, not just a comment or a statement or encouragement, but that it is a question. And that allows us to be able to walk through that question in order, and we'll get to as many as we can today. But Sean, hats off to you for that amazing session number 1, foundation laid. I'm fired up. People were really loving just how vulnerable and open you were. Someone said they've been involved in things for 3 or 4 years and no one is teaching like this. So just really amazing. And just want to honor you and say thank you for being so vulnerable and open as a business owner, as a leader, as someone who's struggled with this in the past. It's so amazing to hear from leaders that want to be real and raw and give real talk. So thank you for that. And I'm excited. First question that came in, Sean, was this is something you and I have talked about a lot, and it's something that I did struggle with for a while. And I know that you give a lot of practical tips for this, because you have grown in this area. And Lit with Ray says, how do you get over the fear of recording in front of others? So can you talk through that a little bit?
That's such a great question. And to be honest, I think there's something about self-awareness that you may want to have people leave the room. So I worked as a director of communications at a church, and I would often shoot videos for my pastor, who would put content on a TV show that we had or on the internet. And sometimes he would actually clear the room. He was incredibly confident and an incredibly good communicator, but he just couldn't deal with like people, like he just couldn't handle it sometimes. So he would just be like, okay, look. And sometimes it's because they're like chattering or on their phone and he was distracted for whatever reason. Another thing that we did with that was we've actually put up curtains. So I love this question too. And this is why these Q&A times are going to be powerful, because there's practical things you want to do to set yourself up for success. And there's no shame in just knowing what kind of environment is ideal for you. Of course, I want to hear from Heather, because sometimes there's the challenge of kids doing cartwheels, and that's not even you don't care what they think. You're just like, I'm actually trying to do something here. Why are you doing cartwheels behind the camera? And so there's something about potentially having him leave the room or putting blinders on, because here's some real practical tips. I want you to think about the camera. And when you look, and you always want to look at the lens, not at yourself, not at the selfie screen, nowhere else. You want to look at the lens, and you want to be thinking about one person that you're talking to. You want to be thinking about making eye contact, just as we know it's good social behavior if we sit down at coffee with a friend to look them in the eye, and to not do it continuously, because you're like, why are you staring deep into my soul? But to potentially look them in the eye and think, and then come back and look them in the eye, or look up and, you're processing, and then to look them in the eye again. And you're talking to one person, and it can be the periphery. Your peripheral vision can be sort of distracting. It's the same thing. Like if you're sitting at coffee, you're looking the person in the eye, and there's somebody with like a flamingo hat behind them. And all of a sudden they go, my wife, Sonia, are you paying attention to me? Sean, are you even listening to me? I'll be like, that dude doesn't, why is he wearing that hat? Like whatever, you're distracted. You lost attention. So thinking about focusing your attention, real practical, setting up your set, shooting in a room where you can close the door, thinking about background noise. And I understand that your living conditions or your place of shooting right now might have challenges. Work on them, chip away at them. Don't let it be an excuse to not create a video. Done is better than perfect, but we're all about creating powerful environments that will lend themselves to our success and to our focus. And then one of the consistent things we'll come back to as I pass the same question before we go to the next one to Heather is practice. There is something about, if Heather would probably tell you, there's times when maybe Kyle and Omar on the Think Media team are literally snickering and looking at memes on their phones. And internally, rage is boiling. You know, I'm getting ready to pile drive UFC arm choke both of them out because I'm like, I'm shooting a freaking video and I'm your boss and your paychecks are signed by me. But, you know, and that's what I'm thinking. And yet I'm finishing up my tip. And I'm like, and that's why with the Canon M50, the autofocus is powerful and I still hit it. That's because, my friends, it's going to be the dirty P word, awkward, that none of us want to hear, that in order to really grow in this thing, we're going to have to do practice. Practice makes progress, not perfection. Because, man, perfection could be paralyzing. Let's get set free from like thinking that we're going to practice until we're perfect. Like, because we're not going to be perfect. We're going to still make mistakes, but practice makes progress. So we get better on camera. I can attest that I've watched Heather become an entirely different person. Depending on when you joined us on this journey, it's sometimes hard to see because you might compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. But like you got to see, thank God I've got that weird video from 10 years ago. And I was shooting videos 7 years before that. My journey's been long, my friends. So the repetition of it has got me to the place where I've shot interviews on the floors of CES, NAB shows here in Vegas, tech shows. I've interviewed people for video influencers as sessions have been let out and horns and sirens have gone off. And like, again, in weird, like dragon dressed cosplay people have like started dancing in the background. Recently, people even saw this at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. A friend of mine saw me at the show while I was doing this GoPro video, came by, double tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "What's up, bro?" And I was still like, and that's why the GoPro. And I felt it. I saw him. I acknowledged him. I thought, that freaking jerk. He's a video creator. Doesn't he know I'm literally mid-sentence? This is what's able to happen in my mind. I've been doing this for 16 years. 16. 17. Over 17 years. For real. So you do it a lot. It's the P word. It's practice. And but Heather, I'd love to hear, like, how have you dealt with it? Of course, there's the practical side of like kids and dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for me, man, I was laughing so hard when you were talking about the snickering. When people, I get so distracted. I mean, like, I just in my everyday life, I'm just a distracted person. I have to fight distractions constantly. I have to set up my world because I cannot focus very well. Even right now, I'm like in the chat, I'm trying to listen to Sean. I'm like, okay, I'm coming on video. I got to like sit up. I did the same thing. I sat up, I put my shoulders back. So I get distracted. And for me, recording in front of other people, my mind actually just goes blank. Let me know if you can relate to that. If other people are around, the camera goes on, Heather's mind goes blank. And I am like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? And I've had to, like Sean said, I've just had to practice that it's me and the camera. It's me and the camera. And I have to I cannot take my eyes off of the lens. That is how I've had to go through this. And I remember really being thrown in the fire. I was, I don't know if you know who Chalene Johnson is. She's one of my biggest mentors I've had over the last decade, in fitness and in life and in business. And we had the opportunity, because of Sean's friendship with her and because of the mentorship and because we were collaborating on a project, to be able to go and shoot with Chalene at her office. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So fun. Sean's going to shoot with Chalene. How awesome. And then we get there and they're like, you know what? And Heather, you should do a video with Chalene. And I was like, yeah, I totally should. That sounds amazing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, do not go blank. Do not go blank. Do not go blank. I had to like mentally focus. I had to put myself in a good state because there was people in the office. There's lights. I'm sitting next to my mentor that I've like, would love to just hug her and tell her she's changed my life. And I had to do video. And because I had practiced before. I know this is like belaboring this issue, but I just want you to know this is real, because I had practiced before with Sean in the room, with my kids in the room, with being out in the open, doing video on my phone like a vlogger where other people are staring at me. Because I had put in the work to make those things happen, I was able to pull off a video with my mentor and people in the room around me and being able to focus, because I had learned and trained my mind how to actually focus. And if you feel like me, if you're like, I can't focus, I lose my train of thought, I mess up, I just let myself say, if I mess up, I mess up. It's okay. Like, she's not gonna hate me. We're just gonna start over. It's okay. And I had to just get myself in the state that it's me and the camera. It's me and the camera. So if you're recording around other people and you feel distracted, one, figure out how you handle your own state in distractions. I know that for me, like I said, I have to focus on me and the camera. You'll hear me say that over and over. I also have to just tell myself internally, this is okay. This is not about you. This is about them. If you mess up, it's okay. No one's going to hate you. Like I say those affirmations in my mind before I actually create videos. And so if you're recording with other people, you can do like Sean said, you can eliminate all distractions, but I will tell you, life's going to get distracting. Like, you're going to have people around you as you start to grow and your influence grows, and you'll start to speak, or maybe you'll be on panels. It doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to have to learn how to do this with people around in some capacity. So you figuring out how you handle your own state and how you can flip it on, how you can practice to get yourself in the right state is going to be really, really invaluable. So that's just like adding on to it, Sean, a little story. And Sean's done this to me quite a bit. So here's what I'd also recommend. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you're kind of pushed into it. Like, Sean does this so well for me. He's like, hey, we're on the floor of CES. You should interview so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, I should do that, Sean. Thanks. And lo and behold, guess what? A video comes out. Now, is it the 10 of 10? Is it going to win an award? Probably not. But does it put me in uncomfortable situations to have me push through the fear? Absolutely. What's built my confidence to be able to flip this camera on and do this right now with you? Doing 100 live videos, like Sean said before. So you'll get better at it, but I just want you to build your confidence that you understanding how you work is really, really important. How can you focus in those situations is critical.
And that actually reminds me, there could be something you may want to commit to, especially if you can get around others or be a part of something online. There is something about Toastmasters, which is a speaking network throughout, I believe, the US, maybe the world, where you will grow as a speaker, and it's a membership you can be a part of, and you can gather locally. For me, I joined the local Chamber of Commerce in 2009 when I started Clear Vision Media, and I had to go to Chamber of Commerce meetings, stand up in front of other plumbers and accountants and real estate agents, and I had to answer I had to describe my business, and I had to, just like Heather said, I was like put into the fire. I was thrown into the fire. Growing up interning at a church, I'm thankful for the youth leaders, David Luster and Jeff Moores. Sometimes they would throw me the mic and say, hey, go transition from the music into the speaking. And I'd be like, what? And they would tell me it. So like, I'm passing that along to Heather by realizing, just being like thrown into things. What environment are you in where you're being challenged and stretched and stressed? And this is one. We're here telling you, put live streams on the calendar. But what if nobody's there? That's not the point of it. Like, the point is your growth. I got to interview some very well-known international speakers that in the church world, and people would speak to, could captivate audiences of 5,000, 10,000, 45,000. And I heard a quote from one of these preachers, and he said, the best way to teach a preacher is to preach a preacher. You're like, that's how preachers would talk, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, it's got to like rhyme, but like, so insightful, because it was like, some of this is, it's going to come back. We'll say it over and over, to practice, to doing it a lot, to doing it repeatedly. So my question, it goes back to those actions. What's on your calendar? The reason to start a show, you might start a year-long show on Facebook Live. You're like, but we're talking about YouTube. Yeah, because you don't like want your YouTube even to know about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, yeah, every week I go live and I like do Q&A, because it just forces you with 3 people there to level up and to communicate better. Or every week you go teach something, it forces you to grow. David asks, I'm great about starting a session with high energy, but then it drops off as the video continues. How do you maintain your energy and confidence as you shoot? Great question, David. A couple things. Really, that's the word would be endurance, right? We did just hike about 2 miles very high up to this little waterfall. I like exaggerate. Everest height. It was pretty high, like quite a bit of elevation gain. And I realized also with the mountain air being extra thin, can you picture if you've traveled into some mountain air where you're like, normally I wouldn't be so out of breath, but I can barely breathe. We were walking and I was like, whew, I'm out of breath. And I was realizing, wow, I haven't developed a certain type of endurance, an endurance to go higher and an endurance to go higher in this environment, because climbing steps at a lower altitude wouldn't have affected me the same way as going up this path to this waterfall in Vegas called Mary Jane Falls. So again, I would encourage you just from an endurance standpoint by doing it a lot, and you'll get better as you go. Practically though. So when you start recording a session, be thinking about how you can grow your endurance in life in general. I will be honest. The reason I started actually committing to a different level of athletics was to infuse, and what I mean by athletics is I jog sometimes, is about 3 times a week, was to just have a greater level of endurance for speaking, for communicating, for being on video, was to infuse my day-to-day work with external exercise. That was one thing. I think a couple practical tips: self-awareness. Your energy drops off. When it's going to drop off, either turn it back on, maybe say, shoot, I dropped to about a 6. Just by being aware that you dropped to like a 6, you might go, let me turn it back on to an 8. I feel a little tired right now, but I'm going to get my posture going, take some deep breaths, stand out, stretch, and activate my body to go to an 8. Maybe take a walk, practical. All right, video 1's done, or mid video I'm done. Let me take a walk. Let me release tension, set intention, and go back at this thing. Maintaining energy and confidence as you shoot. It also might recognize that your energy, your confidence, and your willpower will deplete over time. So that is also an endurance to grow into. You don't want to try and be Heather Torres right now on a batch shoot day, who can shoot 4 videos, but she'll tell you by video 4, she's forgetting words. She's got a shorter fuse for the family. This is us as humans, my friends. Tired eyes rarely see a bright future. Psychology has taught us we actually have limited willpower in a day. That's why we don't want to spend our willpower on lesser decisions. So there's times where even during the morning, my wife will know if I'm in kind of she could call it ornery. I call it focused. I'm like, it's shoot day. I'm not even trying to waste words. I don't even want to talk because I'm thinking about the shoot. And I'm like, I don't even know if I have enough endurance to get through these 4 videos I'm supposed to shoot or these live streams. So it's actually just being aware of some of these things. So my encouragement, David, is it's really for everybody. Your next goal is to just get through 1 video. What we do, and one of the strategies we teach in consistency, is batch producing, the ability to sit down and record 2 videos. Not trying to flex, although I guess I am a little bit. Eventually, I've done batch shoot days where I've recorded 10 videos in a day. I've done 6, 7, or 8 videos, over 10 at CES, and interviews in a day. That's an ultra marathon. I'm a runner right now. I've only ever run a half marathon. And I remember back when I couldn't even run a full mile. I walked and ran. It was endurance in a particular area. There's endurance that you will grow when it comes to content creation. And Sean, why are you talking about it at this intense level? Because I believe it matters this much for a couple reasons. One, not only is it so important that you're creating content, building your influence, building your profits, building your impact, but here's also why we need endurance, friends, is it's not like this is the only thing you got to do in your life. Even us as full-time YouTubers, we got like meetings to do, fires to put out, emails to write, admin work to do, taxes to file. You're like, I'm getting stressed right now. Like, you got other stuff to do. So there's something about getting a muscle where you're like, I built my confidence, so I'm going to lean in, press record. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do well at this, but done is better than perfect. And I'm going to record this video. And so I hope that helps. But it's self-awareness to maintain your energy, and then repetition and practice. And so, Heather, let's do a lightning round. I want to hit a couple more questions. And someone has once accused me of being long-winded.
No, I don't know who would have done that. Long-winded. That's not how I would describe Sean Cannell. I would say thorough. How about that? Thorough in the answers. Okay. So Remington says, I've had a stutter since I was a kid. Recording videos is okay because I can edit out the parts I don't like, but I'm terrified of live streaming because that's a no edit button on life. Any advice for Remington? Remington, first, I would actually point you to someone inside of our Video Ranking Academy. His name is Steve Panette. Steve Panette is a real estate agent. He started in Phoenix, took over that market. He now is in the 1% of real estate agents in, I think, the Dallas or Houston, in Texas, somewhere in Texas. Anyways, Steve Panette has the same he also stutters as well. And he went through a whole process of just understanding that he could use his stutter to his advantage, that was just who he is. He does speech. He does have a speech therapist that walks him through how to control that when that is starting to happen. And he still stutters today. He came on live and did an interview with us. And I asked him after, I said, Steve, is that uncomfortable for you? Is it hard for you? Like, tell me, because I want to be empathetic and I want to help in any way that I can for our community that struggles with speech in general. And he was like, now it's just a part of who I am and I'm okay with that. And when I'm talking to clients in person, when I'm speaking on stages, I just know it's part of who I am. And so I think, Remington, I want to encourage you to embrace your difference. I want to encourage you to work on those skills. I have to work on these skills, not a stuttering skill, but personally, I came from an Italian family and we talk fast and we talk loud. And I have had to work on pronunciating my words more. I've had to work on slowing down how I speak, because when I get nervous, I talk even faster. I've also had to work on bringing my tone down because when I get nervous, I talk a lot higher like this. I talk in like this weird octave all the time when I'm excited or nervous. And so I've had to work on just understanding how to work through my speech. Now, do you need to go live if you don't feel comfortable? No. But will it push you outside of your out of being comfortable, and that maybe when you feel comfortable, when you're starting to go live, you don't have the stutter as much? I know that's one thing that Steve said. He said, I just challenge myself to just talk to people and get on stages and get on interviews so that I do have to start doing this and it becomes like building a muscle. So Remington, first, I just want to acknowledge you because everyone has differences and difficulties that they're working through, but don't let that hold you back, because maybe that one thing, just how I brought Steve as the example to you, if Steve never started, I couldn't have brought that example to you. If he had never done it, he wouldn't be the person that we could look to and say, look, he can do it. I can do it too. So I just want to encourage you, Remington, that there may be someone out there that needs you, the way that you look, the way that you sound, the experiences you've had in your life, that you are the person that brings them confidence so they can step out and be who they're supposed to be as well. So I hope that brings you some clarity of how you can do that too. So let's see. We have
lightning round. Watch this.
Trevik
says, doing live videos when creating art videos, I use my phone, so I have no idea of how to go live when filming. Will there be a video for this? Krivix, check out your YouTube influence course. So go to your members area. If you joined our YouTube influence bundle, that was a bonus course for you. And if you're watching this at another time, you can always invest in that course. We have a dedicated YouTube live training course for you. And it not only will kind of show you our whole process and behind the scenes and a lot of strategies for live video, but it will point you to a list of resources in terms of going live. Another question, if someone has a similar video to you in the same niche and they have animation, how do you follow that? If someone has a video on how asthma works, the WebMD channel has animations that show it, and I can't do that. Well, if you can't do it that way, you can just do it talking head. If you can do it by putting up a whiteboard and drawing, if you can do B-roll, you got to do what you got to do. You don't have to be able to follow that to even have some success. Now, mind you, that WebMD video might have 3 million views, but that doesn't mean you can't get 30 or 300 or 3,000. So that's what I would encourage you. is there's like 8 billion people in the world. Somebody correct me in the comments if you know if it's more than that, or I believe it's not less, but it's right around that, right? 1/4, 25% of those humans are on YouTube. That's a lot of people. And so your audience is there. And a lot of the same style of videos to the tunes of hundreds get views. Some get a lot, some get less. But think about the fact that you can impact 10 people, 50 people, 100 people. And if you haven't ever looked it up, research later the article 1,000 True Fans and realize that you can do this full time with 1,000 true fans. And if you haven't studied that article, study that out, then you can do a similar video or just a video. You can still reach 1,000 true fans, even if they've got a super fancy video with animation reaching a lot more. Elba, what recommendations would you give someone recording live and they suddenly lose concentration or words while time goes by? My recommendation is that you would get just comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. You're going to get better, but I think here's a couple of lessons I've learned. These would be very helpful. When public speaking or talking on camera, number one, these are really good. Write down these power lessons. Mm-hmm. Big mistakes people make. Don't apologize. One of the biggest mistakes I see, people start a YouTube video, you haven't posted in 2 months, so you take 60 seconds, knowing that audience retention matters, and you go, hey guys, so I know I've been gone and I'm super sorry. Life's been like so busy and I'm so sorry. And you apologize. Guys, if you get on camera and you're going to apologize, look, I want to just say I'm sorry. I didn't have a lot of time to research this topic. So what you're getting right now, you know what that sounds like? Like literally, men, you get on camera. You're like, so it's not going to be that good, but I just need to apologize right up front. Think about that. That starts you off on the wrong foot. And your listener, your viewer, the audience, they don't know any difference. Guess what? I know you think that people noticed you didn't upload for 2 months, but they didn't even know you were gone. So you might as well get straight to the point. And even if they did, you might as well just punch right through it. Someone's sitting there. I've just learned to step out on stage or step out right in front of the camera and just get right into delivering your content, to just lean right into it. As Heather said, head held high, don't apologize. If you stop or you have a brain fart, you make a mistake, pause. Now, what I'd normally do, the mistake is to go, oh shoot, apologizing again. I lost my place. Give me a second. You just might take a long extended pause. All right, number two. All right, number two, let's get into number two. Like breathe, reorient with your notes, take an actual pause. And it depends on maybe how fast you speak, but a lot of times, sometimes I will overcompensate for lack of confidence or nervousness with speaking fast. But I've actually learned that pausing is very powerful, allowing people to take notes. So what's naturally going to happen on a live stream, a lot of times I've tried to fill the noise with ums and whatever, or just try to fill the noise or waffle around. Just pause and figure out your notes. And I want to hit Elba's other question, and then I'll kick it back to you, Heather, for these next ones. How do you manage the scripts or bullet points when you go live? That's, I think, going to be the key if you suddenly lose concentration. That's the thing. Don't be afraid. Like, everybody needs to take a break. Take a drink of your beverage. That lets people see. Meanwhile, you're looking at your notes. Okay, tip number 4 is, and reorient yourself. It's something about staying calm on camera. And so, Elba, I love the question. Tip 1 is make sure you actually script or have bullet points. I mean, and that's what you're saying, but like, you want powerful, like Heather and myself, we're not great on live streams because of just winging stuff. We've grown into the ability to do that at some level, but I think what most people don't realize is that we prepare ahead of time. Who would have thought? Like, there's the secret. How was your live stream so organized? Because we organized it. Like, because we organized it. Truly, prior planning does prevent poor performance. I've learned a lot of times we lack confidence because we're underprepared. I'm not confident to take a test in high school because I didn't do my homework all quarter. I didn't pay attention in class, but I know I need to pass the test. So what did I do the night before? I crammed. And cramming doesn't really work that good. I drank some coffee, tried to cram it all in college before, taking that test. What's the difference? When you've done the work, studied, read the book, committed the things to memory, when you've put in the time, wow, you have more confidence because truly prior planning prevents poor performance. You don't need to over plan, but I think a key for going live is to just have a simple script, have a bullet point. I taught this entire session, for example, live off of slides. The slides were my organization. I had to sit down and create 22 slides, think things through, put the work in. And that's not super sexy because that's like, well, that actually sounds like work. Well, yeah, opportunities missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. I put the work in, but it gave me confidence to teach on confidence because I at least could just go, all right, you saw me. I stumbled a few times. I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, actually, that's not where I'm going next. I got another slide. The slide kept me. The deck was like my organization. So if I'm going to even do a quick live, now I do these kind of spontaneous 15-minute teachings on Coffee with Cannell before I do Q&A. So what I do is I will at least, I'm like, what's the hook? And what is point 1, 2, and 3? And maybe I'm just going to teach on YouTube analytics. So I'm like, let me just look at click-through rate. Let me look at average view duration. And let me look at, the overall monthly or the homepage top 10 videos. So I'll write down those 3 points. So I know I'm going to talk about 3 things I'm on YouTube analytics. And because, listen, of putting the time in, I can spontaneously talk about that stuff because I just geek out on YouTube all day long. Whatever your niche is, it's the kind of stuff you can riff on. You want to be talking about things that you've invested in time in. Like Heather, she could just go for hours talking about homeschool and continually answer question after question after question because she loves it. She's passionate about it. She's read about it. And by the way, I want you to be confident in your expertise too, because you've done the same. Key is you kind of know what your headline is. When you write a strong point, then you can read the point. Like tip number 1, don't tie your confidence to external measures. Okay, let me riff on it. Tip number 2, don't tie your confidence to the attention and approval of others. Okay, let me riff on it. So now people actually learn something during a live because you actually have your script, you have your bullet points. And then, Elba, tying your questions together, if you lose concentration, don't sweat it. Come back to your notes. So then practically, minimally, I don't want to get on camera for a live stream if I don't have my notes on my phone. I do video influencers interviews. I'll type the person's name. I'll type 5 questions I want to ask them. I'll type what the question of the day is on a notepad. So I can write this down. I'm looking at, I was going to pull one up for you. I can then just go through on my notes and at least outline. It's just a little simple outline or a sticky note. By the way, I just did it. I just completely stalled Heather. I could just right there. And now we're back. A sticky note, put it next to the camera, point 1, point 2, point 3. And that's remembering the framework that Heather taught. And you'll learn more about this in your Video Ranking Academy course and YouTube Hypergrowth. And is the simplest one is hook, content, call to action. That's all you want on the sticky note. Hook, content, call to action. What am I going to say at the beginning? I don't like to wing that. I like to know what that is. So I think that through. Then it's just the content. Point 1, don't tie your confidence to external measures. Point 2, don't tie your confidence to the attention or approval of others. Then freestyle around that. Maybe tell a story. Something comes to mind. Where am I? Okay, let me recap. Here's point number 1. Here's point number 2. Call to action. Here's what I want you to do next. And then be brief, be bright, be fun, and be done. So I hope that added value. Heather, let's do a couple lightning round and we'll land the plane.
Yes, love that. So Vanessa says, were you guys nervous about what your family members or friends thought about you starting a YouTube channel? I feel like this is a problem for me. For me personally, Vanessa, I was more so nervous when I started when I could speak to my homeschool channel. I was nervous because I was stepping into homeschooling and I was like the only homeschooler I knew. So none of my family were homeschooling. It wasn't like a part of my family or even my friend group at all. So I was nervous because I felt like, who am I to be speaking about this? So that was an internal piece that I had to deal with because no one in my family, none of my friends ever said anything negative about me starting a channel. I just internally thought that. So one thing I want to challenge you with is, has someone actually said that to you, or is it just what you think that they think about what you're doing? Okay. So think about that first, because I certainly felt when I started my homeschool channel, like, well, of course, I mean, like, who am I? I'm not a homeschooler. Just all these internal things came to mind. So I would talk about that. And then second, again, your worth is not based on other people's approval. Your mission is not based on other people's approval. Your starting a business is not based on other people's approval. And probably along the way, you will have people, I guarantee actually, that disapprove of what you're doing. So I would just say that take what we just taught in this first session, rewatch it again, because depending on what that looks like in your family dynamics or with your friends, one, they may not be the right friends for you. Let's think about that. We talked about that in the YouTube Influence Challenge. Your 5 people that are around you are your future. Your friends are your future. So are they good friends? But then second, if your family's not approving, one, have you talked to them about what your heart is around this? Have you talked about your why? Have you communicated with them the purpose of doing the YouTube channel? Now, that doesn't mean that you either accept or deny their approval or their disapproval, but I just want you to know that maybe you've not articulated the reason behind this. I know as an entrepreneur, I've had to overly articulate to my husband these crazy things, like these crazy ideas that I had in my mind of what we created even here at Think Media. I mean, just to blindly trust to go along with an entrepreneur is a hard thing. And so just give some grace around that and make sure that you're overly communicating what you plan to do. I know, Sean, you've had this too, as you've built Think Media throughout those years, you've had to communicate with your spouse about like, I know, babe, I'm spending money on this YouTube channel. I know I'm putting in long hours and I'm creating these videos and I'm doing all these things. To have people around you support you, are you communicating with the people that are around you? So those are the 2 things that I would implore for you to do. That's my dog. If you hear that, that's my dog. Kobe, really right in the middle of a live. Right in the middle of live. Okay. Rick asks, I can hold a conversation with someone about design, no problem. When it comes to teaching it on camera, my mind goes blank. Rich talked about this a little bit. Any recommendations on how to get better at speaking to the camera? Yes, I would say 1, prior planning prevents poor performance. I pretend that the person I'm talking to when I'm looking at the lens, that is a person to me. So it's really, really important to me that I'm not thinking right now of the hundreds of people, thousands of people that are watching this. Right now, I'm actually just thinking about one person. Rich, I am giving you advice on your question, because if I start to think about too many people, my mind will go blank. So 1, prepare yourself by actually going through your content before you press the camera button. Like, take your notes, go to your bathroom and deliver the content to yourself so that you can walk through it 1 or 2 or 3 times. We do this here at Think Media. We have people that we bounce it off of. So any slide deck that we're doing, any video that's happening, there's a review process. It's like, hey, if I say this or if I do this, we review it with each other. You can review it with yourself. I do this with my homeschool channel. I will take the content, I will go and look in the mirror and I'll deliver the content, because I'm like, oh yeah, I want to make sure I say this when I'm saying that. And it just kind of lets me work through that. So if you're finding the disconnect between the camera and real conversation, actually just pretend that the lens is a person, rather than thinking that this video is going to be viewed by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people at some point. All right, Sean.
Yeah. Well, let me do kind of one final question. And remember, we have multiple sessions. So we're going to be covering a lot of confidence questions. Plus, if you're a part of any of our other programs or training, we are doing monthly Video Ranking Academy group Q&As, which are every single month. We have some bonus sessions for those that join the YouTube Influence Bundle. So those are on the calendar as well. We'll be talking about a lot of YouTube tactics and strategies. This one's a little bit of both. And I want to bring up her channel. But Heather Lingerfelt said, I'm still struggling with what I cover on live streams within my niche and how that differs from my weekly posted videos. So first of all, here's the weekly posted videos. Kind of like a luxury channel, Louis Vuitton unboxing, winter outfits, 10 favorites in beauty and lifestyle, 3 ways to style a white dress. So the topic is pretty clear to me. Here's kind of some rapid fire ideas that will, I think, serve all of us if we are struggling with just ideas in general, maybe what to cover in live streams. First of all, do not be afraid of repetition. I repeat, do not be afraid of repetition. I repeat, do not be. So you kind of get the idea, but like literally don't be afraid of repetition. I think we think that that like, if you talk about something on your YouTube channel, you can't talk about it over on your Facebook page, as well as, these days now we have like, our YouTube influence Facebook group, and we've got our Video Reiki Academy Facebook group, and we've got our Think Marketing podcast, and we've got our Think Media channel. And here's kind of what I've learned. I'll talk about, I don't even know where I've talked about anything. I'll talk about the same thing everywhere, different things everywhere. You just got to just talk about it more. So the first tip I'd give you and everybody is you probably need to repeat a lot more. And I think we are too often trying to come up with original ideas all the time when we need to understand the power of repetition. I think this became so clear to me from my church leadership days and learning the power of how to lead an organization with a strong vision. And the way you lead an organization with a strong vision is, first of all, you need to talk about the vision. You need to make the vision clear, and then you need to repeat the vision. And it was ingrained in me that you need to repeat the vision so much that by the time you're sick of it, the people listening will now just be beginning to understand it. So of course you want to have fresh and original ideas, but Heather, what I would encourage you with is that you could make all 4 of the videos you've already made on like Facebook Live, and no one would know the difference. Like, you think that the 39 people who watched your winter outfits, like, or whatever, you could talk about that same thing. So you could unbox the same thing, like rebox it, and like, just as an idea, don't be afraid of repetition. 700 people watched the unboxing of a Louis Vuitton thing that you did. Hey, obviously you'd have to rebox it, but like, you could talk about that same thing on Facebook. Like, don't be afraid of repetition. Second, don't be afraid to steal. What? Steve Jobs, quoting Picasso, knew that bad artists copy, great artists steal. Bad artists copy, that's plagiarism. Great artists steal. What's the difference? It's just not being afraid to not try to reinvent the wheel and go straight to really good ideas, and to pull those ideas. Here's how Steve Jobs said it, and I'm almost quoting him word for word. There's this clip. If you look on YouTube, good artists copy, bad artists steal, or bad artists copy, you can get about 60 seconds of Steve Jobs saying this. And he says, we've never been afraid to pull the best ideas from artists, entrepreneurs, culture, and weave them into our products. We have not been afraid. If somebody came up with the best of something, the key was not, I'm not going to copy it, although, arguably people maybe say that they have at different times. They're saying, I'm going to pull that into what I'm doing. So here's what I'm saying. I like to, let me give you exactly what I mean. We go to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show here in Vegas. This is a YouTube strategy too. And I used to go by myself. I've been through every stage of YouTube by myself, right? Without there's no Heather, there's no Omar, there's nobody else. I would use a monopod. I would have the camera on a monopod, a little handheld mic, and I would shoot my own interview holding the camera out like this, and I would interview the person. And the monopod was nice because my arm wouldn't get tired trying to hold it up in selfie mode, meaning the tripod leg went all the way to the ground. And I would go to CES and I would show up and I would shoot on the show floor because it was here in Las Vegas where I live. It's a tech show about cameras. And I would shoot, about the cameras, I'd get all the footage. I would come home. I'd edit as much as I could at night. I'd try to upload like one video, and then I'd go back the next day. CES is 4 days. I usually worked, and I was a little bit younger, a little less back pain back then. And I would seriously work like 16, 18-hour days by myself all week long, try to recover on the weekends. And then I would have enough content to release videos for the next couple of weeks. And as a solo creator, I a lot of times would release 12, 15 videos from CES. It was early days that helped me grow Think Media. But check it out. Once I started building a team, it's been our record year. We did 25 videos in 4 days, and the team was helping. Other people were shooting and whatnot, so we've compounded it every year. Here's my tip, though, and why I bring all this up, was there are tech blogs doing the exact same thing we're doing. I feel like I'm David, they're Goliath, okay? Tech blogs like The Verge, like Engadget, they would have 40 journalists. They'd have a double wide in the parking lot of CES. Air conditioning unit, cool graphics on the side. I bet they had a freaking bar in there with Red Bull and like snacks. And these tech bloggers were just chilling in their air conditioned unit, typing up their story. 40 people, someone to go to the booth, take some notes, text the products. They probably had 2-3 people per project. I'm mocking them. I'm not trying to be rude. That's how I tell my own stories in my own head. They would, and to put out, and they would end up writing a lot of videos and a lot of blogs and a lot of podcast content covering the largest tech show of the year, really. And so staffs of 40, 50 editors, journalists probably had a freaking waiter in there, man. They probably literally had somebody. They probably had a back massage. I'm embellishing. Someone's probably giving them back rubs, handing them like Tylenols and like Advil. Like, oh, are you tired? You need a rest? Can I get you a soda water, sir? And I was freaking grinding in the hot Vegas sun, parking in Self Park for $10, walking miles both way uphill in the snow, carrying my gear and my cameras to shoot whatever. Okay, why am I saying all this? You're like, where is the story going? This challenge with CES was to cover the best cameras. What they revealed about CES is there's 200,000 people come to Vegas to go to the show. It's across multiple miles, multiple buildings. How do I find the best videos to make and the best products to make when it came to covering the CES Tech Show? Here's my strategy. Heather Lingerfelt. I just went on Engadget and The Verge's blog every night or morning or throughout the day and let their 40 journalists and video creators point me to the best products of CES. Good artists, great artists copy. I was like, I can't go look at every booth. I'm one man. And guess what? When we had the Think Media team, it's still what we do. Why? Because it's a shortcut. Like, they're doing the research. They're looking at all the bad products. They're looking at, so what's my point? I've never been afraid to look at a magazine. So I'm thinking in your niche, how has this become practical? I would be following top luxury fashion how-to blogs and stealing their ideas to go live about. So if they did one that said like 3 fashion mistakes, you might go, oh, cool, I could talk about that tonight on the show. You might come up with it that morning. You might just read a blog. I would listen to podcasts because podcasts are audio only. You might think you need to show something. What are the top luxury podcasts? What are the top, channels that are talking about winter outfits and talking about, these types of topics, and be like, oh, I'll take that idea. Great. That's what I'm talking about tonight. Makes sense? And so don't be afraid to pull ideas from other places. Inherently, when you take the idea, digest it, reform it, and represent it in your own way, it's no longer, you're not plagiarizing it. You're just letting the live stream topic idea. And by the way, that whole long story, that could go for your video ideas as well. So don't be afraid to have an influx of ideas from podcasts, from blogs. I'm still into magazines. Like, I get Video Maker magazine that gets shipped to my house, and I'm looking for tech to review or to talk about or to highlight or tips about it. I'm looking everywhere. I'm constantly wanting to be like a sponge, and then I'm constantly capturing those ideas. I've got little notifications on my computer, and then I get one and I'm like, there's a live stream topic. I might even use and be influenced by a lot of the person's points. You know what I mean? Like they might be like 3 points. I'm like, that's the only 3 points about like how to do this. I'm gonna talk about it too. So it makes sense. Like, again, always put your unique spin on it. Just like we learned in high school English class, like you don't plagiarize word for word. You got to change like 40%. So you actually change some stuff up around it, put your unique stories in, your unique whatever, but don't be afraid, I think, to absorb that. Let me know if that was helpful. And I hope that that can keep your pipeline full of live stream ideas added with repetition. Not only repetition on different channels and live streaming YouTube, we talk about different things throughout the year and whatnot, where if someone says, Sean, you just talked about this, I go, bless you, my son. Like, I go, thank you so much, because it just shows you're really paying attention. I know most people aren't. They're not that deep in this community. They're really not paying that much attention. And so it's all good, because I know that more repetition on more platforms, more times, and more places is getting the message out more, which means I can impact more people, attract more subscribers, more awareness, with more different ideas around different topics tried on different platforms. That taking massive imperfect action is where the action happens. All right, Heather, land the plane.
Yeah. So, a couple things just for you to know. Janelle, you just asked, can someone tell me the URL for this course? I never got the welcome email. That's because this is the course. We are live recording the course for you. So this is then going to be edited. It's going to be put into a course section for you. The next session is actually going to be on July 9th at 9 a.m. So you will be getting your emails just like you did, and it'll be on this page again for you for the Camera Confidence course. And you do actually have Camera Confidence course in your course library. There's just no videos in there. And so this video will then be placed in there with the worksheet. So you'll have that for you. That is our next session, which is going to be July 9th at 9 a.m. You can watch. The next question was, will this be able for replay if I didn't catch it all? Yes. You have the YouTube link as well as what's on this page. And then it will be inside of your course library. So you will have access to this. Again, this is going to be happening over the next few months. Why? Because we want you to be taking action during the time between it. Sometimes it can feel like a fire hose to the face when we start talking about internal work and things that we need to do. And so we wanted to space these out enough that you could be really working on this on a long-term action-taking, goal-setting type of way. And so your next session is going to be on July 9th, right here again. And we would love your feedback. So if you have feedback about this course, we would love to hear from you. You can either post it inside of, you can either send us an email at hello@seancannell.com. You can put it right in the chat right now and I can screenshot it. And that just helps us to know that we're on the right path with this course. I'd love to know your aha moment. What was your aha moment from today? And your next action after this is to commit to going through the bundle that you purchased. You are a part of the YouTube Influence Challenge bundle, which means you got access to Hypergrowth. You have access to Video Ranking Academy. You have access to Social Media Accelerator and our live streaming course. You have so much content for you to start taking action on right now. And that is what I implore you to do, to take action on your courses. Get through your clarity worksheet inside of Hypergrowth, start taking action inside of Video Ranking Academy. And we are so excited to see you on our next session on July 9th. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.